GM whispered lore on my character sheet.
I have GM whispered lore on my character sheet. All right, I'm going to add this lore to this book. And I'm revealing everything to everyone.
Yeah. Nobody in this campaign knows Malice's backstory. Nobody asked why he was trying to why he fucking murdered the shit out of that orc and why he was so
Yeah,
upset.
it's just kind of like everybody's like, okay. Yeah, he's got a good reason for that. Like, why he specifically, like, hates this guy. Like, also, like, the crow, like, that crow that y'all can animate, like, it hasn't been animated. And, like, it
Let's do
needs
some
to
wild
be.
shit.
It needs to be. And it's, like, important. But, like, it's not integral to continue. It's just, like, it's more lore that's, like, probably would be of interest to everyone. Look what the cat dragged in.
Yeah, I started
You
meal
piece of
prepping
shit.
since the week. Thought I had time.
You're making your sandwiches? You're brewing it?
Oh, make it.
You go for the entire
Yes.
week? You dingus?
Brew was meal prepping before people like talk about meal prepping.
I know. That was like circa like '08.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there would be some backlash from the DM if someone wanted to play that race and I understood its full like capabilities. I don't know a lot about Eberron. I'm a Forgotten Realms man through and through, which is where Sirocco's from. He's from Kalimshan.
Am I?
That's what you said. You said you were from
I know,
like
I'm
an alternate
kidding.
dimension.
I know.
You were like, all right.
I've already written out how we're going to resolve that. It's probably going to be like about 2.5 years from now. But I have it written out. It exists.
It's gonna be some Bioshock Infinite shit.
What? Yes. Just changed. Okay. So, where are we at?
Fallon just murdered those two dudes and
And had like blood spiraling around
So,
him.
blood spiraled around him.
He got younger.
He got younger,
Right.
and Malice noticed that with his special owl eyes,
My
and
special
especially knowing that he was around your same age because you kind of grew up together and were acquaintances back in the day. And kind of like the way we're going to say this is like y'all are like walking up and witnessing this. You're like, I mean, you can say you entered stealth like you can say you didn't, but you kind of just witness all this. And after like this is immediately after, so he walked up on the pedestal. He had these two noblemen with him, a girl and a guy, and they both carried like pikes with them, like stabs with blades on the end. They walked up here with them. Fallon, or y'all came here upon the scene. Raphael's tied down with his, he's shirtless and he doesn't look like he's conscious. He's not moving. Fallon kind of like took out his blade, stepped up on the pedestal, and like prepared kind of with the blade down and like his hands above his head with both hands of the sword, was prepared to look like he was going to drive it through Raphael's chest. And then I think it was Malice noticed it as well, maybe it was someone else. You saw that these two individuals looked at each other and then looked to Fallon, and they both shoved their pikes towards Fallon. And he turned, blocking both of them. And he blocked one of them, and he caught the other one with his fist. And he killed the woman by slashing her across like the face or neck. And then the other guy, he stabbed in the neck and basically decapitated him while breaking his spear off in his hand. And then this is whenever you're seeing this bloody mist encircling Fallon, and he looks younger. And that picture of his character is like what you see. And after this bloody mist is encircling Fallon, like kind of evaporates, and you see this full picture of him. He turns around back to the pedestal, away from the two people he just murdered, and you see him quickly flourish his sword in an arc, swinging it near each of Raphael's hands, and then he turns it, flips it, sheathes it at his side. And it looks like he takes a deep breath, jumps off the pedestal, back down to like the ground. He, after a moment, he seems like he's just sitting there with his back turned. He bends down and starts to gather the two bodies up, or he inspects them for a moment, and then he seems to be doing something with them. And at this point, how would you like to proceed in this situation? How did you proceed whenever you walked up?
I'm pretty sure Malice has like his weapons out and he's running.
Okay.
Well, I think we were sprinting.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're
At
all
this point, like,
charging.
yeah, pretty sure we were sprinting. So at this point, I think Malice, yo, Fallon, what is this madness?
All right, is everybody following Malice up? Riva
Yes.
and Duco would be trailing. You would see Fallon come around the side, walking up, and say, "And what are you doing here, Malos and his crew of Avengers? How have you come to find me?"
It matters not. I need you to step away from Raphael. We're taking him with us.
Your other companion, Raphael, yes. Raphael, my young friend, the fool. I guess, yeah. Why do I have him? Is probably what you're wondering. Well, he was spying on us as we cleared out of Fallhold, likely for the Syndicate, the Enclave, the Freelancers, someone. I don't really care. So we captured him, and the price for such an action is not death, despite its suspiciousness. He played his part in this. In truth, he was rather well placed. Allowed me to be rid of these two.
What is the meaning of all of this? What are you doing with the people of Fallhold? What have you done to our home? These people are brainwashed.
No. This is our home. These people are Fallhold. Fallhold isn't a place. And quite simply, what are we doing? Well, and he looks back to the two bodies. These were traitors to the cause, and they lacked the conviction, the vision for what is to happen next. I managed to convince them of Raphael's evil nature, and they agreed to perform such a ritual. And he kind of says the quote-unquote evil nature next to Raphael, whenever he says Raphael. They agreed to perform such a ritual, knowing full well they would have me perhaps at a vulnerable spot. And he looks back at them again. They were wrong. You see, Fallholt, the Outlands, these places are no longer safe for us. They can no longer hold us, so we must move on into the wilderness to harden us. And they disagreed, and they were willing to kill me to have their way with the group. And as far as what I have planned with your home, you still consider this place your home, Fallholt? He would ask you, Malice.
I don't know that I have a home anymore, but it was the one place I was ever happy. And it seems like madness. You're inconceivably young. These people are training with you. They appear hostile in some way. I don't understand. I understand more than anyone that the Outlands are a dangerous place. I assure you of that. But what are these links you are going to?
You see him like hold his hand and kind of like grip it, like motioning, clenching his fist and unclenching it. We have attained a higher power. It's quite simple, Malos. It's not unlike the arcane, the physical, the psionic even, but it's the power of our bodies, our blood. And I simply believe, as do most of these folk, we must be free of the chains of this old world. And these two, and those like them, who we've mostly rooted out, I think these were the last two leaders, and we'll have to figure out who among them, when I go back to the camp, who among the remaining citizens supported their cause. They intended their coup to be more subtle, and it failed. Their plan B was crude and destined for failure. Either way, I've won, and I'm going to take Fallholt and all of its citizens into the Forest of Shadows. And I don't even have to be telling you any of this, but I am, because I think you, of all people, should understand what it takes to survive in this world. And Gilvarnek, the Red Scar, those orcs that kidnapped me, they were being directed by a higher power, not divine, but more likely the Syndicate of the Enclave. And I'm not sure where you or Raphael stand in this yet. I've been open. I've pretty much laid out everything. Well, and what's the move, Malos and the gang? I don't know all of you, I guess, that well. I don't remember all of your names. And I don't know who you are. And he points at Duco. He's like, they were probably going to Gilvarnek and where he was going to take me. You know what they were going to do to me, right? To maybe more citizens if they could capture them.
I'm not here to debate whether or not Gilvarnek was evil. I killed him with my own hand. He murdered my family. We're on the same page there. I don't know how you could question my motives with there. I'm just trying to understand what's going on.
I don't know of your involvement in this. And yes, you did slay Gilvarnek. You helped me escape. You brought me back to Fallholt. and all of that earned my trust. And I've seen the Syndicate do worse. I've seen the Syndicate operate under further layers. So I don't plan to kill Raphael. This was a ruse, just to be clear, but you need to give me a better reason to trust you and your strange involvement in this, and now finding me out here. I don't know how you found this place or Raphael.
We found you through a sending stone that Raphael had hidden.
Clever.
We'd been traveling together, and Raphael hid it, and we were able to discern it. And we'd also heard of it's difficult to hide a mass exodus from the entire town. The Eladrin had spotted you, and from there it was. I mean, it's not hard to track this many people.
What is your purpose here?
My only purpose was to retrieve Raphael because we thought he was in danger, which I'm still not convinced he's not.
Yeah, so you would see him he turns to Raphael and he would slap his face trying to wake him up. He's like, well, he's still unconscious. He had to be unconscious for this to look right, but I assure you, he's not been injured too bad. I mean, my men, when they captured him, might have roughed him up, but he's still got all of his appendages, and I plan to release him after we were clear of the Outlands, which we're not yet.
Look, I wish I had something believable I could tell you about what we're doing here, what we're doing with Raphael, but basically nothing that's happened to me in the last month has made any sort of sense. We've been thrown against powers we barely understand. We've lost an ally, and the only thing I was trying to do was to try to not lose another what seemed like another ally.
Powers beyond what you understand. You were referring to how we engaged Gilverneck and his troop. Do you have an idea of what that was? Because I certainly don't, and that's exactly the kind of thing I'm talking about. That's exactly why we're leaving Fallhold. The Syndicate is wielding something that we can't compete with, but we will, and that's why we're going into the Forest Shadows.
I don't blame you for wanting to protect your people, and I'm not anyone to determine what's best for Fallhold. I haven't been there, but look, a lot of stuff has happened in the last couple of days and that we can't explain. Do you have any idea what happened in the Red Scar headquarters? Were you responsible for that, or was that
the Red Scar headquarters? No, I
or
have
the
no
Guild
idea.
Hall, not the Guild Hall in Fallhold?
No, what happened?
We arrived to do reconnaissance and see if we could glean something from Gilvarneck's, or regarding Gilvarneck's intentions, and the entirety of the Red Scar Guild had been slaughtered. And we were engaged by what appeared to be a vampire and sent through a portal to who knows where, and had to fight for our lives while losing an...
This is all true, but you roll me a charisma check.
Can I roll persuasion?
Yeah, I would say.
Nice.
Okay, yeah. He kind of hears you saying this, and he's like, Jesus, who killed, and you see him thinking about it, who was left at the Red Scar regimen led by Gilvarneck was from Fallhold, so who would have been left that we didn't slay ourselves? That's the question that comes to my mind, but perhaps you don't know the answer. But Sirocco might.
Yeah,
Sirocco 1,000% has the answer to this.
Yeah, I know. I would turn to Sirocco and just say, was it Etrig?
Yeah, so Sirocco, to rehash if you don't, or Alex, your Sirocco remembers, but It was because partially this is because this was a session you weren't there for.
Okay.
But your character, it's like Sirocco, whenever y'all battled the vampire that Malice is just talking about in the basement of the Red Scar mercenary headquarters, there was a vampire on the ceiling that attacked y'all, and you were the first person it touched or grabbed or attacked, and it gripped you by the throat and was trying to fight you. And whenever it touched you, you got a visionary experience of you could understand it in life because it was a vampire at that point, and you understood its name was Etrig. And I think you can read the Etrig little handout if you want to see exactly what was said and what transpired. But essentially, you saw from his perspective he was the leader of the Red Scar Company in Fallhold. Gilvarneck he had started a coup, and it was Zordran, a mysterious woman, and then a bunch of Syndicate agents were killing the Red Scar members that were under Etrig. and he felt responsible for it. You could feel his guilt whenever this thing touched you. And you saw Zordran kind of run him through, but he said something to him as he did. And that was kind of what you got. So that's what you understand, is that the Red Scar group that got murdered in the what y'all found, the bodies, were the remaining Red Scar members that were loyal to Ettrig and not Gilverneck.
Okay.
So you'd know all that.
You also know that Sordran Argyndir guy was the one that killed Ettrig?
Yes. But
I
he said
witnessed
something to him. He was the one that killed him. Zordran was the guy that y'all encountered way back. He said he was transferred to that Orcish temple that y'all found Xavier's room and battled a bunch of zombies. He came in and helped you kill the zombies, and he said he was sent there by the Syndicate. And it's presumed that he worked for the Syndicate. You knew that whenever you met him, and then he kind of slipped out of your grasp whenever y'all escaped that dungeon. But you know this is the same person that y'all actually already encountered. So I guess are you gonna tell Fallon everything I just said, or not? Is the question.
Yes.
Okay. You would see him start to walk towards you kind of casually as he talks, or he has been kind of this whole time, kind of pacing and walking casually. And he's kind of stroking your thin. He's like, Ettrig, I actually met the fellow, and I never met Gilvarnek. I never knew him by name. I saw him, but Ettrig was someone. He was the person, and he was the reason, based on him conveying what the intentions of this Red Scar company that opened up their shop in Fallhold. He was the only reason I allowed it to happen. So what you're telling me is in line, that these orcs, these toothy green beasts that I could not bring myself to trust, they saved for this Ettrig fellow and what his purpose seemed to be. I allowed them in, and Gilvarnek aligned himself with them. And then he's just kind of at a loss. He's like, well, thank you for bringing that to my attention, but it's really not my concern anymore because I don't plan to return to Fallhold. And despite that, those Red Scar mercenaries that weren't with Gilvarnek, I think were probably honest men, honest orcs. Well, in a way, they chose their paths, so what can you say? Now all the Red Scar orcs are dead, I suppose. He kind of chuckles at that. Yeah, well, and at this point, you would see Duco kind of whisper over to you, Malos, Darian, and Sirocco. He'd be like, hey, we're not alone. And out of kind of the forest behind you, if you looked back, you could see a variety of individuals kind of peeking their heads out of the trees. And some of them look like the people that were following y'all whenever y'all ran this way and you kind of started a commotion. They kind of are starting to walk up the path behind y'all.
Fallon, I'd like to clarify what I believe is more of a misunderstanding. But we did subdue one of your scouts, and they are on our trail. No harm came to her outside of her being knocked unconscious. But we were, again, concerned for our friend and trying to find him. So I apologize to any harm that befell them. However, you have to understand, I was just trying to get back to my friend, and I have no idea what was going on here.
Fair enough. Perhaps you can apologize to her. And at this point, he would turn around and be like, well, I have to take care of these bodies. I'm going to have some explaining to do, but not that worried. You can tend to your friend here. He should be returning to consciousness shortly. And you see him start to gather up the bodies, and then the guards from behind, or the people from the camp, kind of show up behind y'all. And you would hear some of them shout out to Fallon. Fallon would be like, they're fine. Just bring them back to the camp, or don't. I mean, I'm not going to force them to do anything. They're just here to retrieve their friend. Oh, and these two, there was a bit of a misunderstanding, but just let me do the talking once we get back to camp. And he's gathering up the bodies. And then, Raphael's just kind of still unconscious. You see him start to move kind of groggily, but...
Alan, thank you for returning Raphael to us. Just one question for you. Were there those that didn't follow you on this quest?
As far as citizens of Fallhold, yes, of course. Not everyone was a part of what I was trying to bring to the table, I guess. And yes, there's still people in Fallhold living there, and no hard feelings between us for the most part.
Is there infrastructure still in Fallhold? Are there guards to protect those people, or have they been left to their own devices?
Well, most of the guards came with me, it's true, but I have set up I made preparations and sent out word to, mostly to Wake, to where there's going to be a mass exodus. This is anonymously written, and there's going to be jobs open. So Wake is informed, and I presume that there will be reinforcements as far as the infrastructure and the personnel needed to defend, because that is the first concern I had. So I sent that letter over a week ago. So it should have already arrived, and I mean, to a certain extent, yes, it's out of my hands now. I did as much as I could, but I'm confident that Wake will respond, and it'll be people again with the necessary positions and posts. But as far as mayor and the other positions of power in the city, pretty much all of them came with me. So there'll be a bit of a vacuum there as well, and I'm confident they'll figure it out. Like I said, Fallon is these people and not that city, that place.
So what of the Magia agents that were there searching the city? Did they know nothing of your quests and abilities? Did they not question your exodus?
I think they had a lot of questions, but the way they did it, and the way that we did it, and the way, I don't want to reveal everything, but we managed to slip out under their nose. And yes, I think they had their suspicions of my powers and how I was spreading them and how I was training the citizenry, and they at least wanted to get their nose in it and find out everything about it, as Magia does. He's kind of saying that through gritted teeth. He's like, but at worst, I'm not certain that the Magia wouldn't treat me any differently than the Syndicate would. That is, they likely would have vivisected me and plucked from me every ounce of whatever magic resides within me. And
you need not justify not liking Magia to us. We're not fond of them either.
Magia's presence in the city was one of many triggering factors that caused this exodus. I'll say that. And their interest and the damnable Emmett, I feared he would be able to stop me or find out. And yes, that's part of the reason why we left, was the timing of Magia's presence. And it wouldn't surprise me if Magia and the Syndicate likely aren't working together on this, but it's possible. And if anything, the Syndicate knew exactly what they were doing when they kidnapped me, and whether they wanted Gilverneck to succeed or where they were taking me, I have no idea, but they knew Magia would respond, and they knew this would happen. And a certain part of me, he stops himself, he looks at you, Malos, looks at the group, kind of like measuring y'all's trustworthiness, it seems, just like a basic insight. And he says, it's likely we now might be caught in one of the Syndicate's many webs, and we're moving exactly how they want us to, and that makes me fucking terrified. But this is the plan, and I have to follow along with what I plan to do. So I'm taking the people, and this is how it's going to happen. So whatever happens now, I hope we're ready for. And that's kind of like, he just goes back to moving the two bodies of the people that he killed.
Yeah. Malice is like dumbfounded by all this, but I'm gonna look at the group and just say, Fallon, we're going to take Raphael now. However, we will not be discussing what you and your people are in the process of doing with anyone.
Oh, I appreciate it, and thank you for understanding. And he looks at you, Malice. It's like, I don't know what you plan to do now, or where you're going, or still don't really know who you're working for, but I wish you well, and I hope if our paths cross again, it's for good and not ill. Let's just say.
Agreed. And before I go pick up Raphael, I'll reach out and offer my hand.
Roll me a charisma check. Okay. So whenever you shake his hand, like, he shakes your hand firmly, he reaches out, but whenever you touch his hand, you are imparted a vision of, you're looking, it's like inexplicable, it's like instant. You're looking at a younger version of yourself, like whenever you're like in your teens, and you're smiling and laughing and you're shaking hands with yourself from your perspective. And it's not hard to understand, and it kind of implicitly is that you in this vision are Fallon, and you're speaking to yourself, Malos. And whenever you release from this handshake, it goes away, and Fallon's just smiling.
I think Malos is probably pretty shaken by that at first, but he doesn't say anything.
Yeah. And Raphael, like, at this point, would be pretty conscious. He's like, what happened? Where's my shirt? What the fuck?
Come on, big guy. I throw him over my shoulder. We're getting out of here.
Fallon, you hear Fallon calling to Raphael. Raphael's like, Fallon, what the what happened? It's like, you were a huge help, Raphael. Actually, appreciate it. And like Raphael's like, are you like dirty again? But then like you're carrying him away.
Yep. Well, we'll tell. Yep. Just let's get out of here, Raph. We'll figure it out later.
So where are you gonna go? Because he indicated, and like these people waiting back here, like it looks like they have all of their weapons drawn, but they all have weapons. They're just not drawn. And I mean, Fallon said you could go back to the camp if you wanted. He like offered that, and like these people are all amenable to that. But like, what are y'all doing?
Malice would look at Duco and say, "I think we have somewhere we can go, but we may need to get this guy back on his feet. Can we impose on you for one more night?"
Certainly, yes. So much to unpack. Thinking about the conversation just played out in front of Duco.
Tell me about it.
Okay. Yeah. No, he would oblige. But yes, we can go back to the Almor, and you can stay as many nights as you need to recover. And like kind of Duco and Riri are kind of like in y'all's midst because it seems like they're getting like eyes from these like mostly human people that have come up, and they're kind of avoiding the spotlight and mingling in with the rest of y'all as between like Sirocco and like Darian and whatnot.
Okay, so we take Raphael and we're heading back to Duco's place.
Okay, that's what y'all are doing?
If everybody's all right with that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in this travel back, it'd be pretty leisurely. Y'all didn't really encounter anything on the way there, because based on what Duco and Riri told you, there's not a lot of, like, wildlife or random stuff. So y'all make your way away from the camp and back towards the Almor Forest, which is like a half day's travel. So you get there, like, kind of at the night, because y'all got here, like, in the midday or whatever, left in the morning. So during that travel, Raphael would ask a lot of questions, mainly everything that's happened up to this point. Raphael would say, well, he would start out, the first thing he'd mention, he'd be like, man, I'm fucking mad. Like, they fucking got me. Like, I'm a ranger. Like, that is my shit. And, okay, so, like, I was, like, walking, or, sneaking, not just walking. I just didn't leave myself open, but I was on the other side of the river. You and Faye never showed up. I don't know where she is, but I was waiting to meet up, as Faye said, with you and her. We're going to meet on the other side of the River Song. And I had seen a couple of caravans, covered caravans, and didn't see Fallon, but I saw a lot of people leaving. And I thought it was just trading groups. Maybe some people were like doing some traveling. Everybody was heading the same direction though. I repositioned. And while I was trying to observe, I got ambushed by two guys. Before I knew what was happening, I was unconscious. And that's whenever I woke up in this camp, and luckily I was able to contact y'all, or else, based on what I guess you already told him or about to tell him, he's like, isn't sure of what Fallon's intentions were with him, but he would tell you all that as far as like how he got captured. And he's like, I don't know what happened to Faye. She said she was going to go to the mansion, to the mayor's mansion. Y'all went to the Red Scar Keep. What the hell happened? What happened to y'all? And then you can tell him, or whatever. You can tell him like however much you want, or like however you want to do it. Might require some rolls, but it's up to y'all.
He's asking like what happened when we went to the Red Scar.
What happened to y'all since, like, how did y'all come to be here, and like what has happened ever since y'all were supposed to meet up? Like, he's been like, he waited around, said Faye didn't show up, y'all didn't show up, and then he got captured. So like he's wondering what happened to y'all.
I think Darren would be still kind of hesitant to say. I don't know. There's still all the drama between us and Faye, and Raphael's kind of part of that, so I don't know.
Yeah, Malice is pretty reserved about that.
What Darian doesn't understand though is like why Fallon brought Raphael out there for that whatever ceremony that was going on.
He was trying to lure out the traitors and like catch them in the act of trying to kill him.
Yeah, that was.
And like he just like Raph just happened to be like a convenient way of doing that.
Oh.
Yeah, that was your understanding from what he said. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I didn't like Fallon's story. It might make sense, but I don't really trust that guy. But since he did offer to give Raphael back, I didn't want to like try to start a fight, especially since we didn't really know how many numbers they had.
If anybody can operate even close, if all of those people can fight in a similar way to him, I didn't think there was any chance of us getting out of there alive. So yeah. I'm certainly extremely disturbed by what I saw, but I wanted to just get us out of there with Raphael alive. Malice would say to Raphael, Look, we've had a really bad couple days.
Worse than me?
Nothing. Yeah, I would say so. My buddy's pretty dead. He's in the infernal plane.
Who?
I don't know if you
What?
noticed, but Igor is not with us.
No! What?
Yeah, well, now,
What the fuck?
look,
He's in
we've
the
had a lot of
infernal
weird
plane?
stuff happen.
What? Where did y'all
Yeah.
go?
Yep, that's a good question. We don't really know. Honestly, the only people I've met that I trust in the last like month are these two Eladrin. This is Riri and Duco, and I like them.
Eladrin,
But
nice.
look,
Pleasure to
man,
meet you.
like every single interaction we've had with you and Faye, we get ambushed on Faye's orders. Faye sends us to the Red Scar thing, and I don't know. I can't even tell you what the fuck happened. We got teleported to some crazy place, and some fucking giant spider sent Igor to the infernal plane.
Well,
And now,
two.
we come up, and we come home, or we come looking for you, and my entire hometown is some strange group of blood cultists.
Blood cultists?
We're having a hard time, and I think you'll understand this,
Oh, shit. And he remembers from a
being
fight he
particularly
saw.
trustworthy.
Okay. Okay, so first thing he's going to hit on, he would say, well, to be fair, and like this, he's speaking from the standpoint that he was the person who kind of designed how y'all were going to go about intercepting Gilverneck, and y'all know that, obviously. He would say, well, the Gilverneck, he was supposed to be, like, we tracked him. We knew exactly where he was going to be. And the spiraling storm, like, what the fuck? I have no idea what that was. And then he's in our midst, and everything gets thrown to shit. And yes, those others with us, Windion, Hilea, like, their blood is on my hands. It's on Faye's hands. And
Which, it's funny you mentioned that they didn't really have blood.
yeah, I guess Raphael would have seen that as well. He's like, I wish I could
You can
explain.
add that to the list of things I was saying.
Yes, and if I remember correctly, those orcs, and it's pretty clear now from what I've been told, is from what y'all have explained in what my own eyes saw, those orcs were equipped by the Syndicate, and their weapons cut through Windion and Hilea and Rallick and Victoria, whatever they were, like butter. And the Syndicate, they're playing us, they're playing me, they're playing Fallon, based on what you've told me, like a fiddle. Like, this is, I am sorry your friend is dead. That Agalor, I don't know what to say about that. I don't know how that could have happened. I don't know why y'all were transported somewhere out here in the mountains from the Red Scar Keep. I don't know why the Syndicate was able to transport Gilverneck and his crew in the midst of us. I take the blame for that fully, and we need to get back to Faye. That's wherever she is, she might have answers, especially about Fallon. She was going to his mansion. I wish I could, but we can't go back to Fallhold, not yet. The Magi are covering that place. That's one of the last things I saw whenever I was keeping watch. The Magi are just turning it over, and I honestly, the first thing I think of when why Faye didn't probably show up, Magi might have captured her, but I trust her. I trust her enough to where she would have gotten out of that if that was the case. If she knew Magia's heat was too much, she would have been able to escape, I hope. But for now, let's go back to the Almor with Duco and Riri, and we can talk this out, or we can just rest. And then I'd say we head to Wake, and I have means within Wake of contacting Faye, or at least getting back to her tower if that's where she is. I don't think we can go back to Fallhold. What do y'all think? Do you have a better idea? Or I'm trying to think, was there anything else you said that there was a lot of things that should have been written down, but like you were just complaining about like every step of what's happened so far. I'm trying to think of anything else you would say. How in depth did you explain? Like,
I was pretty vague.
Okay.
Purposefully. Look, let's go back and get you in working order, but I'm not entirely sure my dealings with Faye are going to continue.
That's fair.
And I don't know how the others feel, but that's where I'm at. I may speak to her, and try to get some answers here about what happened, but it's going to take a good amount of convincing for me to want to work with or for her ever again.
And the hell of it is, this wasn't even a mission. This isn't why we took y'all in. And he's like kind of shaking his head. He's like,
You knew that for sure?
Yes, the mission that we sent you on was to go to the temple, and this was spur of the moment. Honestly, the only reason our party, Windion, Hilea, Rallick, those people were in Wake. They probably would have been sent. That probably would have been the party. Maybe some hired mercenaries. The only reason y'all were the only reason y'all were there, and he's kind of like thinking, he's like, it's because of your connection to Gilbarnek. Faye knew that. Faye knew that about you. She knew
Yep,
that
she did,
you,
didn't she?
she knew that Gilbarnek and you had, he was your nemesis, is what she told me. That's the only reason you got sent out there. That's the only reason that that was not a planned mission that we had laid out.
I understand that perhaps you and she had not laid out that plan, but I'm not entirely convinced that she had not laid out that plan.
What are you
And
saying?
I'm saying that I have no reason to trust Faye. She's brought me pretty much nothing but
Look, from
horrors
your
upon my
standpoint,
life.
I can see why you'd think that, but we're not the one. Faye's not the one swinging the axes and opening the portals to the infernal plane. Like, come on.
I don't know what she's doing. I don't know what anybody's doing.
She's
I don't know
trying
what the hell
to.
Fallon's doing. I don't know what the hell the Syndicate's doing. I don't know what this fucking crazy guy, Meiji, is doing. And frankly, man, I don't know what you're doing. I came and got you because I thought it was the right thing to do. But look, this is where we're at. Like, it's hard for us to put a lot of trust in anybody right now.
I understand that, and I can only really speak for Faye and myself. I can speak for the Syndicate. They mean to sow chaos, and Magia means to place themselves anywhere where there's magic or power. Where me and Faye are just we're trying to intervene in places that need to be intervened with. And yes, it's highly dangerous. It's very possible that I could die. My profession, before working with the freelancers, now working with Faye, it's always been something that I've accepted responsibility for, and I know it's dangerous, and I know from your standpoint you may not trust us, but I'm saying that you can. Me and Faye. You can't trust. I don't think we could trust Fallon, I agree, but I can only speak for myself. And
Like I said, let's get you back. Let's get you fixed up. We can go to Wake. I don't know where things go.
fair enough. I will say that Faye, if I'm able to contact her, is going to want to debrief for sure, at least with me, probably with y'all, and I hope I can contact her. But if that happens, then that's likely what she would request.
Well, we'll see about that.
Okay, so y'all are back in the Almore Forest. Y'all get there, and yeah, basically this would be y'all staying the night. You get there in the middle of the night. You can immediately go to sleep. You can continue talking to Duco, Fallon, Raphael, or talking amongst yourselves if you have things you want to talk to away from other people. All of that could take place kind of on the travel there would be the Raphael conversation, and then while y'all are there, y'all could do whatever you wanted, obviously, before going to sleep to long rest.
I just want to divine smite some trees and blow my spell slots before I go to bed.
Duco would
just
be
like-
no!
Now this is just hanging out, playing his lute, like outside, not super loudly, while the sun sets.
Duco would kind of say, like, mostly rhetorically, to like y'all, and even in Raphael's presence, be like, what exactly are y'all caught up in? You don't have to. I don't really. It's not my business, but I just.
You're
Honestly-
goddamn right,
Honestly,
isn't it?
Honestly, Duco,
God damn.
of all the people I'd want to talk to about it, if I knew, it'd be you. But I don't know.
His face goes red. Well,
I'm still playing my lute. Probably smoking my pipe.
okay.
I'm using mold earth, and I mold a little chair out of earth, and I'm just sitting there.
Is this your elemental monk now?
This is my elemental monk.
Nice. Okay.
You doing some elemental shit with him?
Krunan.
Wait.
Okay. Krunan says. "What the
Hold
fuck
on.
is that? What are you doing, Mr. Rocco? I've never
Hold
seen that
on.
ever."
There we go.
Oh, nice. You got that shit in there.
I did.
Oh damn.
Yeah. You see Krunan walk by, and he's like, "Whoa, what the fuck are you doing, Sirocco? Are you a wizard?"
No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna blow a key point. But nope.
You're gonna stun it.
No. Well, we can do whatever we want to him now.
That's true. Fuck.
I'm gonna water whip him. I'm gonna oh, that looks terrible.
A long rubbery whip of pure water.
I'm gonna water whip him. Or just pull.
What
I'm
is the
gonna
context of this water whip? Like, are you and Krunan alone in a room?
No, we're just outside. And in response to him saying I'm a wizard now, I'm gonna water whip him and pull him right up to my face and just say, kinda.
What the
But not
fuck?
quite. I'm an elemental monk now.
How did this happen?
I'll have to tell you sometime how that happened.
I hope you get the chance.
You're like the fringe version of Sirocco. You're Peter.
Yeah.
You got replaced.
Yeah, I'm the
You sent your
anti
other
Sirocco.
you sent the
Yeah.
other Sirocco back to the farmhouse.
He's
I was like-
anti-Sirocco.
Yeah.
I gotta work.
Yeah,
You gotta tell
I'm
me
the-
that
I'm the
shit
correct
beforehand.
one.
I gotta work
I'm
that
the
in.
right one. I'm the right one. He's the wrong one.
I'll work an anti-Sirocco. It was anti-Sirocco before. Now you're like Sirocco.
Who's to say?
We don't know.
I know. I know I'm the right Sirocco.
Yeah, I certainly don't know.
Sirocco is running a Xanatos gambit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is this a view of? I don't know what John's out divine smiting trees. Is that?
That's not happening. Riri would like give you like puppy dog eyes. Be like, please don't destroy anything. Don't do that. We feel
Aaron.
the forest pain.
Stop it! What are you doing?
I thought we were gonna
Jesus
fight.
Christ!
Darren's upset the fight didn't happen with Fallon.
I didn't want to die.
I think we could have took him.
Maybe.
I wanted to punch somebody. I'm punching like. Is there a? Can I punch the tree? Like just building up like my knuckles are basically bricks if I'm a monk, because like you flattened all the bones in my.
Out of all the things I would want a DM hammer, punching
So
a
I'm
tree
just-
is
well,
on
I'm
the
just-
list,
I'm-
but I can't do it.
I'm going through
You
my.
can punch the tree.
Yeah, I'm punching the tree.
Okay, so you're doing some training.
Yep. I'm getting a little like my muscles are getting stiff from so much inaction.
I kind of want to hit you with some Sirocco lore that I have, the stuff that I've developed because of you're from this other place, and also would explain why you can have this power. But I'll do that not now. I don't want to do it in real time because like you're gonna have other monks you trained at the temple. You're gonna have characters and NPCs that you could tell me no, this is not true, but the fact that you're from a temple where you train with other monks that presumably had other kinds of monk specialties, you would have trained with someone that was an elementalist monk or whatever this is called, and maybe that's where you learned it. Work that out later. I don't know if you had something in mind.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
I mean, did you have do you have something? Do you have like a
I
backstory?
might.
Little-
Yeah.
It's lore that you don't want to say in front of everybody else?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine then. We can hash it out later then. All right. So y'all are doing some forest shenanigans.
I'm just playing my loot. I'm not abusing any trees.
Yeah. I want to be clear. I'm not abusing any
actually
trees either.
hurting.
I thought about it, but I'm not going.
The tree is helping me. I've come to the tree to get stronger, and the tree knows that. So I'm not actually hurting the tree.
Roll me a nature check. See how well you know trees and what they know and what they like. Maybe this is a strong, independent tree and it don't need no monk.
Maybe so.
You can't.
I'll
really
just
tell.
move on to the next tree then. I moved to the next tree and worked them.
Uh,
Oh, God.
4 trees in a row.
That's
That's
Sirocco, if you want me to spar with you, I will.
Okay.
You would see Riri like slapping the tree. Every time I say Riri, it thinks I'm saying Siri. You see her slapping the tree. She's like, their bark is as strong as steel. It's gonna break your knuckles sooner than it'll break the bark. If that's what you're trying to do. Also, please don't do that. Bark is part of the tree, and it can feel that. If you break the bark, it's causing the tree pain.
Fine.
Okay, so if y'all had anything else, if not, then y'all would be waking up after the long rest. So y'all are basically heading to wake. If there's anything else you wanted to say to Duco or Riri before you departed, and then if there's anything else you wanted to talk with Raphael on the way to wake, would all be in play.
I would just reaffirm. I would just go up to Dooku and Riri and like shake their hand. If Riri's a hugger, I'd give her a hug. But if I read the vibe and it wasn't that way, I'd just shake her hand.
It appears that you can roll me an insight.
What if it was perception?
For this, I mean,
No,
it's
it's
not
fine.
going to be a
Insight's
high
fine.
roll.
Inside. Nope. There it is.
What'd you roll?
Oh.
What? You have no idea. You have no idea
Okay.
one way or the other.
All right. If I have no idea, I'll shake her hand.
Okay. Your passive insight picks up that she wished you had hugged her.
Why didn't you just let me use passive insight? That doesn't make I should have
Because-
had to roll.
Because you didn't know, like, she's like younger, you don't know how old she is, and you can't tell. And then as soon as you shook her hand or you reached out your hand, it was visible on her face, and it was easy to read that she was disappointed that it wasn't a hug.
All right. Well, that's what happens when you roll a 1.
Yeah, maybe if it was
say
anything other than a 1, like it would have played out differently.
I would just say thanks. Your kindness has been a breath of fresh air. I wish you and your people the best, and I hope our paths cross again.
Yes, it was a pleasure to meet all of you. I enjoyed our high stakes times together. And Duco would be like, yes, we were happy to help. We were happy to take you in. And sounds like y'all live very interesting lives, let's say. And I wish you the best in your travels. And Mr. Raphael, it's a pleasure to meet you as well. And you should stay safe, maybe. And yeah, they would depart, or they would kind of say goodbye to you under pretty good terms. So y'all are now on the road to, there's nothing else there. Y'all are now on the road to Wake, which would be another half-day travel. Pull up that young world map. If y'all pull up the world map, as far as like where y'all are in the world.
Should we be pulling up the world map? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, if you're interested to see like where you are in the world, because I know spatially, like, I don't know, I like looking at maps.
Go at it.
World map should be in the handouts.
Okay.
So y'all are northwest of Bashouk. So you're like, where it says the Outlands, you're like just above that, where like the forest meets this like grassland area where it says Temple of Rancor. Y'all were in between the Outlands and Temple of Rancor, like in the forested area. So like southeast of Fallholt, northwest of Bashouk. So to travel back down to Wake, you'd be going through kind of the passage between the forest and the mountains. So that would be like, yeah, half day, a little bit longer probably. But if you left there in the morning, you'd get there with daylight left. Whenever y'all get to Wake, you see, like y'all are like not in the city that long, and Raphael is leading y'all to a tavern where he says that he would like to try to get in contact with some freelancers, and if not, then he has another method that requires a little bit more effort in order to contact Faye. But the first option he explains is to go to this tavern called the Sunny Runner, and he's going to speak with some people there to try to basically contact Faye through that. And while y'all are heading that direction, a courier comes, and it's not anybody you recognize, but it looks like it's someone who's like wearing some official clothing, like kind of like a guard, but a little bit different. He's wearing a hat. It's an elf, and he runs up and hands, I guess whoever's probably be Malos, if you're like walking next to Raphael at the front, he would hand you a message, like a little scroll. Like, are you Malos Misty? You fit the description. And he's handing you the scroll.
That would be me. Thank you.
This is a scroll from, I'm sorry to say, an anonymous person, and hands it to you.
Wonderful.
And on the scroll, if you were to read it, is a kind of short message. It just says, "Greetings. My connection to Agalor has been severed. I know not the nature of what has happened to him, or how much he told you of my communique. I gifted him a coin while he danced in a tavern last month. It was inscribed with the words Amor Fati. It held a simple message with it. I seek to exchange information to our mutual benefit. Find me before I find you, and you might receive the imbalance." That's written in quotes. This coin allowed me to potentially communicate with him, to our mutual benefit. But it required one more step. Using my connections through the Yasa Collective, I managed to get the purveyor of the haggle in Fallholt to mark Agalor, a small inscription upon his skin, reading Amor Fati, which fulfilled the connection, allowing me to potentially impart information between us. However, we never got the chance. Like I said, my connection's been severed. I tell you all of this because I trusted Agalor, and I knew your group to be capable of providing valuable information to me, worthy of trades that would be valuable to you. Whether or not he knew who I was or trusted me was irrelevant, because I doubt he did either. But the stakes are too high now. I hope to continue such a relationship with your group, if possible, and to learn of Agalor's fate. Perhaps, if you stay around in Wake, we can find each other, is how it ends, and it's just signed with a D. And I don't remember if Agalor ever said anything about this. I don't think he did.
He didn't say anything about anything.
Yeah. Okay. So you get this message, marked signed D, and there's no really action point with it. It's just told you a bunch of stuff, and this person is aware of your group. So yeah, you get that scroll, and then Raphael would ask, like, is that anything relevant? Is this some personal conflict you have here in Wake?
No conflict. Old friend from the army. Said he noticed us walking into town. wanted me to meet him at the Fantasy Taco Bell. So I may go do that later while you're hashing things out with your freelancer contacts, if that's all right.
Okay. Yeah, he believes you. And yeah, so y'all continue. See if there's anything else. Oh my god. Okay, I should have reread all this. All right, so y'all make it to the tavern, unless y'all are gonna like go somewhere else. He's heading towards the Sunny Runner, and he's saying, within we can find drinks and rest from our travel throughout most of the day, and I'll see what I can manage. But it's a pretty nice place. I mean, this is where I like to go to get drinks, and not just for the drinking. It's also the hub of freelancer activity, and yeah, so he would tell you that in addition, like as leading up to heading there.
Good to know. I'm gonna go to the haggle while he's doing that.
Okay.
Do you have a handout of that scroll?
Not yet. I need to make one. The only thing that y'all would remember that was kind of relevant to that line of information is
Thanks, man.
y'all remembered that at the haggle, Agalor, while he was like kind of like smoke, he the haggle guy, what was his name?
He knew Agalor.
Reggie Bargains knew
Agalor
Agalor, and Agalor didn't know him. So that lines up and kind of corroborates what this said, at least that part of it.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so what is everybody else doing
In wake,
in life?
Darian's woke. He's cutting down more trees.
You're cutting down trees in Wake.
No.
There's trees here. So
Let me
you
check my
could,
inventory. I think I might go to the haggle as well to pick up some. Actually, I don't think we've gotten any gold in a long time, so I don't think I have any gold to spend.
yeah, I mean, if
think
you
we
care,
all
sheets
spent-
don't have any.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Y'all
I
blew,
think we
you
spent-
kind of blew a lot of the money at the Haggle and Fallholt. I remember.
I was gonna say we can get some health pots because I used all my health pots whenever we were in the in that like fight with the spider and stuff. So
Yeah, I haven't bought anything, but I have 10 gold. So I must have.
yeah, we all bought like health potions and stuff the last time.
Okay.
So how much money do you have? Or how much money does everyone have?
I'm not going to buy stuff.
So you're going to try to contact D.
I'm gonna go try. I'm just trying to track down this guy. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, you go to the Haggle. It's pretty big in Wake. I don't think y'all went there last time. It has a lot of wares, and
Reggie Bargain.
the shopkeep is not Reggie Bargains.
No.
Reggie Bargains was a fat human man. This is this is a halfling who is shirtless and male. His name is Fava, and he says, "Hi, how can I do you for?"
All right. I think you might be able to help me find a friend I'm looking for.
Yeah, I know lots
Well-
of people.
Yeah, maybe not a friend, but someone that's in contact with me. All I know is his name starts with a D, or maybe he goes by D, and that the words. What were the words on that Agalor was supposed to get?
Like the words of like the original message was, "I seek to exchange information to our mutual benefit. Find me before I find you, and you might receive the imbalance." That's the original message that was imparted.
Do you have that written down somewhere?
Yeah, I can paste it in the thing.
Well, there was like a word that Agalor was going to get written on his skin.
Oh, amorphity, which you could
Yeah. And perhaps the words amorphity might mean something to you in relation to this fellow.
he'd look you like just in the eyes, kind of squinting. Amorphity D, and you can roll me a persuasion check. He'd kind of like look over your shoulder, like look down at the table, kind of like wiping it off. He's like, "And he contacted you?
Gave me this note.
What does the note say?"
It says he was looking to make a exchange of information with a friend of mine.
Yeah, he does that with everyone. I know who he is, and I know what he stands for, and I don't know how to contact him, but he likes to play games, and he likes to, that's not what he would call them, but that's what they are. And you can find him in Wake. He spends a lot of time here, but you gotta play, and it's fucking annoying. But yeah, his name is, well, he doesn't have a name, it's a pseudonym. D stands for detective. He's just known as the detective. That's the extent of what I know about his name, and it pretty much informs what he does. I've never seen him. I don't know what he looks like. I don't know what type of person he is outside of what you just said to me, exchanges of information, that's how he operates. I don't know what his goals are or anything, but yeah. If he contacted you, I think I'm in the clear telling you all that for sure. He's very particular about who he contacts.
So, do you know how I might start going about finding him?
Honestly, no. But there are people who might be able to help you in the underground of any city. And he like crosses his hand over his like chest. He's like, I'm not one of them, so don't come to me. But Syndicate, if you can get in touch with anybody in the Syndicate, they will help you contact this person. Now, I know what you're thinking. Detective Syndicate. No. He's connected with everything you can imagine. And the only people that will talk and will be able to allow you to potentially get in contact with them is the Syndicate. But in order to contact with the Syndicate, you kind of have to be a certain type of person. And he looks you up and down. He's like, I don't know if this would fly, but it's probably your best bet.
I think I'll just let him find me. He said he would, and I walk out.
He's like, but you won't receive the imbalance. He's like, but that's typically how it goes. And then, he would, like, you sure you don't want to buy anything?
I guess we didn't. I think I spent most of my gold. Let me just check and make sure. I have 0 gold. At least that's what D&D Beyond says.
This also, like, this haggle, like, you understand what the haggle, like, held in Fallholt. This has a lot more, because this is a much bigger city. It's it's the capital of the West, so, like, the haggle is also just a lot bigger. So I mean, if you can't buy anything, it doesn't really matter, but I could show you, like, what's on sale.
Yeah, I don't have any gold. Well, I probably have some gold, but
I think it's really little if we have any. Because you got the grappling hook the last time we were here, right? Or
yeah, which
the
I
haggle?
think was a lot of my gold.
yeah.
I'll just look back and say thanks for the info. I do want to buy some stuff, but I need to take care of a few things first.
Fair enough. What was your name?
Malice.
Pleasure to meet you, Malice. Come back anytime. The name's Fava.
Likewise. Thanks, Fava.
I guess I'll tee off at least what the next thing is going to happen. Whenever y'all get to the Sunny Runner, is that what I keep forgetting? I have so much stuff. Sunny Runner, yes. When you get there,
If we get there.
if you're not going to go there, then tell me. I mean, this would be Raphael telling you this as you're approaching the Sunny Runner. So he probably wasn't waiting with y'all, but Malice, whenever you catch up with the rest of the group, Raphael is basically at the Sunny Runner, or like near it, in like an alley nearby. But he's talking to the rest of the group, and he's been saying that he saw a message on a building, like exactly 2 blocks away from the Sunny Runner. He's like telling the group this. Malice, you walk in on this. He says, this is the place. This is the Sunny Runner right here. But I can't go in yet because I got a message. It was he like rolls his eyes, free can't. And y'all can roll, like, I mean, it's probably general knowledge. Maybe it's not. Nobody's a rogue. I'd say Malice would maybe know this from military days. There's like such thing as thieves can't, which probably wouldn't be general knowledge unless you're a rogue. But I'd say, like, based on your background, you would probably know of its existence because you've probably known other rogues. And
It's a fucking lame name for Raph.
What's that?
It's a fucking lame name.
What is?
Free camp for your whatever it is that you use to talk to the freelancers with.
It's like, yeah, it's similar to the thieves thing, but it's for the freelancers specifically. There's no crossover. Is the message indicated that there's someone inside who wishes to meet y'all together separately, and the nature of the meeting is uncertain, and I'm not included on it. And I know what you're thinking, but it should be safe. This is a series of symbols indicating Sunny Runner in general is a safe space to conduct vital freelancer business, and this message indicated that this was vital. And I haven't encountered such a message in many years. My freelancer days are over, and my former employee. And I don't know how much you know of the organization. I guess Faye has told you that's some of her source, but they are secretive but of righteous purpose, in my opinion. They are the most potent countermeasure we have, we being civilization, to the Syndicate. They offer information and resources to goodly leaders and those fighting against darkness wherever it lies. Their mission is still one I believe in. Faye and I remain in relatively constant contact with the organization as a whole, provided our interests align. And this message is rare for a reason. Within the various autonomous freelancer companies, face-to-face meetings and open conversation is rare. Even in a place like this, business is normally done through dead drops, magical messaging, free can't, and nigh indecipherable codes, unknown to everyone except for those the words are designed for, not even among general populace freelancers. Thusly, I will not be going in with you, nor will I inquire further about what is spoken about, as is the code. As I said, it should be safe, but that being said, be careful. Freelancer operatives are sharp, and regardless of their ultimate intentions, they're all spies. So he would convey all that information to you. You're right in front of the Sunny Runner, and that's where we could leave off.
Maybe Sunday afternoon if that works for people, because like my life's about to get really
During the week is not going to be doable, like ever again.
Yeah, it's gonna be like I'll probably be leaving at like 10:30 every night. My
Jeez.
time.
All right, the D&D is now church.
That's basically what it is for me anyway.
Yeah, same. I wasn't joking. Now, like I said, this is going to be a conversation. So put your conversation hard-ons.
Favorite.
That's the only heart I have on. Like, I just can't ever wait till combat's over.
Yeah, because this is still part of the epilogue after the events and everything. So yeah, I posted that message. That's Raphael telling you that. After you came back from the haggle, he was telling the group this, Malos, and you like walked in. So Darian, Sirocco, and Krunan were already there, and he's kind of explaining that he came across a free cant message like a couple of buildings away. He was headed towards the Sunny Runner because he knew that was he could talk to people in there that could potentially contact Faye, was what he intended. But then he came across this message that indicated essentially there was a meeting that someone wanted to meet with y'all specifically, and he wasn't a part of it. So now he's kind of like reluctantly, because now he's like, well, I can't go in anymore based on this message. This code says this is law this way, that only y'all are supposed to go in and not him. So he's basically explained what it was, what the Sunny Runner was, which y'all understand is like a tavern that is basically where a lot of freelancer business is conducted. And he basically, this is the entrance to it. I guess I'll switch y'all over. I mean, this is the map of Wake that y'all are seeing. So like I kind of like did a legend with some of the places y'all have been. Just went to the haggle. You were at the barracks, Malos, because that's where you recruited Ralik. The Fellowship Chapel is where Krunan recruited Halea. So y'all have been to those places. And then I think Victoria was recruited in like a random tavern, and Windion was recruited like on the ramparts of the castle in the north or whatever by Darian. So I didn't mark those, but and then the canon name I've decided upon for the Fantasy Taco Bell, because I couldn't suffer it to be that forever, is Taco Nola. And
I'm upset about that. I'm upset about that decision.
Fantasy Taco Bell is not something that I would ever disallow you from saying, but its official name is Taco Nola. So you could say it's AKA, the artist formerly known as Fantasy Taco Bell, and then the haggle. And also I added the haggle wares that you would have seen Mouse but not bought anything from because you're kind of broke, to the haggle handout. And I added the Google Doc with the haggle history. So if you ever go to a shop, I'm going to save down like what was there. So if you ever like you see something you can't afford and you want to come back to a place, there's a chance, obviously, it would still be there because I'm like saving the inventories.
Okay, perfect.
So that's in the haggle handout, and yeah, I think that's it. So I'll switch y'all over to this map. Let me know what y'all see. So another thing, new information. I was working on some maps, and I realized I was out of space. So I now have 3 Roll20 campaigns with a ton of shit in them. So I just bought the like pro version of Roll20. So I just have like infinite space and like access to a bunch of crazy shit now. But I'm not like using any of it yet because I don't know how to use it. I bought it yesterday.
I see us we're on like the bottom right corner of the map, and there's like a staircase that's presumably up to a tavern.
Yeah. So Raphael kind of just explained all this, and he indicated that he is going to. He would say, "It's like I'm a Sunny Runner. I'll just have to find another way. There's a couple of other means that I know of within the city of potentially contacting Faye. We can meet up after your meeting, and best of luck. Again, I don't know what it's going to be about, but." It'll be a meeting, presumably with someone within the freelancers. Not everyone in the Sunny Runner is freelancer, but everyone the freelancers would welcome would be the only patrons within the Sunny Runner, if that makes sense. So I bid you adieu. And he's like leaving, and y'all are at the doorstep of the Sunny Runner, and you see a sign on the right just before you. The door's to your left, and then just before you is like a wooden sign indicating the name of the tavern. So
did Raft walk off?
Yeah, let's say he's walked off.
Don't get captured again as he goes off.
Don't get captured by Run the Jewels comes on.
Sure.
John just DM'd me. He's like, sure, I'll allow it. I'm going to see if they have Don't Get Captured on the track list real quick.
All right, boys.
Let's get up in there.
Are we going in this tavern?
Krunan, what are you doing here? Let's go.
Just hanging out, you know. I'll follow y'all's lead.
I was really hoping you'd do most
rest
of
of
the
the
discussions, but
Like, Krunan, we elect you to make the decisions.
Krunan,
Just
what do you
walk
think we
around.
should do? I guess we could have texted Kyle to see if he could play, but oh well.
So we going? What? Should we keep somebody outside? Like, is this all talk? Is this
maybe-
this root?
Root's not in play.
What?
Did you say root? I thought you were saying root, Alex.
Oh, I was mad at you for saying Root's not in play. So I was like, what do you mean?
Can I
Root's not in play? And I totally forgot.
Wait, root's dead? Oh, god damn it!
Yeah. That's right.
Wait, no, I'm gonna bring Root over here. He can go anywhere across campaigns.
I gouged Shiraka's eyes out.
Yeah.
All right, Krunan, how about you stand watch outside? We're going and talk to these motherfuckers.
You're leaving me out here?
I'm suggesting that you stay if you don't. I'm not leaving you if you don't want to stay. You don't have to. You can come inside.
I kind of want to get a drink.
Oh, okay. In that case, come
I'll bring
inside.
you one out. You're staying out.
Oh, okay. He puts
No,
his head
no,
down.
you're
You
coming.
see a single
Go
spear.
Nah, get in here.
Awesome. All right, so
Should go in here. We're bailing.
y'all
I don't know
walk
if we're
in.
going in here.
Krunan rushes in. I don't think the grid is
I can't-
actually. The grid's not.
Yeah,
active
I
on
can't.
this. Yeah.
I can't use my arrow keys.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because there's no grid. So you just have to move your guy manually. So you walk in this initial area, and you can hear the sounds of piano music wafting through this open doorway. And then as you walk in this like kind of sub room before the main room, you see there's a variety of like, and some you recognize, some you don't, like cultural artifacts and a tapestry behind them. It's like orcish, human, elvish. You see like bits of each kind of all interwoven, and it's kind of like this is it's like a fantasy sports bar like tableau of just different artifacts that have cultural significance for a variety of different locales as you walk in. And as you came into the entrance, you would I guess I'll just reveal everything. So you'd see a guy kind of standing at the ready in like a stool right here, and he would greet you, whoever came across first, and say, "Welcome to the Sunny Runner. Speak freely, live freely." It's kind of as a greeting, and then he would say, "You here for business, pleasure, looking to meet anyone?"
Pleasure.
Both.
Probably a little both. I'm gonna focus on the pleasure part first.
The doorman say his name?
Doorman.
He did not say his name.
I'll introduce myself. I'm Darian. What's your name, doorman?
Yeah, totally normal thing to do. Introduce yourself to
Way to
the
play
doorman at a bar.
cool,
Darian, is it? I presume you must be Malos. He points at you. And he's like, Prunan and Sirocco. Where is Agalor?
I walk out of the bar.
How do you know who Agalor is? How do you know who we are?
He's in the back. The person who called to meet with you individuals. And Darian, my name is Io. It's a pleasure to meet you. And he would reach out his hand. He's a bald, dark-skinned man with a cloak on. He looks human, but he has strange tattoos on his head.
Okay.
Malice, you shoulder past everyone. You're out the bar.
Yeah, I walked out.
Okay.
Rocco, go get Malice.
No, I unarmed strike the guy in the stomach. Just with the intention of knocking the air out of him.
Is that happening?
Don't fucking say his name.
Please do it.
Roll me an attack if that's happening.
It's more of like a bluff where I get like really close enough to make him like flinch, that type of thing. Like I want to palm strike him like right into the chest and just stop like just short.
You're fucking 3.
Okay.
No. Oh, wait, I haven't even done anything. Oh, I don't know. How
You
to
rolled something.
I know. I haven't even. My roll thing isn't even up. I just clicked. Wait. Let me give this whole thing a try. Jesus Christ.
But as you like see the wider area, you see it's a rather reserved, quieter tavern than you normally see. There's a piano player in the center stage. You see even from this distance, and there's a variety of tables with. It's about half full. I mean, there's a lot of people here, but there's some tables that are empty or don't have many people. And most of the people speaking are speaking in like lower tones. There's lower light in here, even though it's like midday outside. So what are you doing with this strike? You said you're like gonna bluff punch
No,
him?
I don't want to hit him. Yeah, I mean without hesitating, just as he says Aglor's name, and Marlos like turns around. I just want to like full on 100%. Like I'm gonna palm strike him like right in the suplex and just like basically stop just at the extent of my reach. Like not actually hit him, but super close. And just say don't.
Okay, you see him
Speak his name without knowing him.
as this strike gets there and like gets closer and closer. You see him look at you like sharply with his eyes, but he doesn't like flinch, and he doesn't react to it really, other than to say, "Excuse me, is there a problem? There's please no violence." But he doesn't move.
Goddamn saint now.
I'll have to excuse my friend. As you can see, we're still kind of affected about Agalor's.
Agalor's. I'm sorry if I spoke out of turn.
Agalor in general. He's going through some things right now.
Okay, I understand.
We don't really want to talk about it.
The individual who wishes to meet with your group is in the back corner of the tavern, but the bar is up ahead. We have food and drink, and as I said, the Sunny Runner is a place where you can speak freely, and we encourage it. And all of y'all can roll me kind of as you're taking in the aura of this area and like listening and seeing everything around you. Just roll me a perception check.
I am not in this room.
You probably still would have noticed it whenever you did walk in because you're the first person in, but you don't have to roll it if you don't want to.
I can roll it.
Sirocco.
Is it based on sight?
It's based on hearing and seeing. I guess all of y'all notice that, like I said, it was like kind of quieter conversations going on around you, but you notice that over here at this kind of like prominent table in front of the fire, this hearth, that these individuals look to be like very animated, and it looks like they're yelling at one another. And it's like this table right here, they're speaking like kind of casually in normal tones, and the piano itself, like you can hear that sound most of all. But like the conversation at the table before you and the table in front of the hearth are both at the same relative volume, despite the fact that it looks like they're talking louder. And you understand that although you can hear the sound of their voices, and it is their voices emanating it, it's in no language you can understand. And if you listen more closely and with those rolls, you can tell it's like gibberish. It doesn't sound like anything that you could make out.
You were saying the people in general, or the people at a certain location?
The two tables next to you, the ones that are closest that you'd be able to like hear their conversation since you're standing so close, this one and this one, they are speaking like kind of in muffled tones, and you can't understand it. It's not in a language you can understand, and it almost sounds like it's not in a language at all.
Is there a guy on the table over there? What is that?
You wouldn't really see that yet, unless you wanted to look at it specifically and roll me your perception.
I want to look at it specifically, and I'll roll perception.
All right. So, dang, a +0. So yeah, you see there's 4 individuals at a table, and there's like a figure. It almost looks like a spectral figure emanating from the center of the table, and it looks like it is speaking to the people sitting at the table.
Okay.
And it's pretty large. It's like larger than a person.
Can I use my special eyes to see if that's is that rodent intentionally there?
That's a cat, and it's sitting on the end of the
cat.
piano.
Rat on top of the piano.
It looks like a rat.
It's a cat, and it's like sitting on its like haunches, standing up with its tail over the edge of the piano. You can see the piano player, even at this distance, is like a dark elf woman sitting and playing. She's wearing fine clothing. She has like long white hair over one side of her face, one side of her head. And yeah, that's what you see in here.
I have something in my inventory called Spider Fang, and I don't know what it is.
You probably pulled off a dead spider.
No, yeah, you pulled it off a
that's
dead spider because you're gonna like try to make it poison or something.
Yeah, no, okay. I thought it was like the name of a cool item, not literal.
It's literal, yeah. I remember you asking to pull that out.
I remember now. Okay.
Okay. I think we need to consult Malos before moving forward.
Kernan, go talk to him.
Yeah, Kernan, can you go talk to Malos?
Kernan runs out and he grabs you by the shoulder. He's like, Malus, what's wrong?
I'm just tired of weird shit happening. Everybody knows our name. We walk in everywhere. Getting pretty tired of it. Feel like I'm a pawn. Don't like it.
Let's leave tonight. Go to a different town.
I'm not opposed to that.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm in earshot of this.
Well, why stay here? We've almost died like every single day. There's no fucking reason to be here.
Completely
Just
agree.
leave. Like literally all we have to do is just walk down the road and just leave. Go somewhere else.
Campaign over. All right. Let's see what this motherfucker wants. I'm getting a drink before I even look at him, though. And I walk back in. If we don't like this, we leave tonight.
Okay. But without hesitation. Like if it gets dirty, then we're just
No, if fucking
leaving.
weird shit happens, I'm fucking done. I'm
Weird,
walking
those are
across the
some
continent back to travel.
potentially famous last words.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
I'm
so
leaving now.
the bar is up ahead right here.
All right, I go to the bar, and I sit down at the bar. Hey guys.
It's pretty crowded.
Actually, I'm gonna sit over here.
Yeah, there's a lot of spots.
I'm gonna come in way later. We didn't and sit back here.
Okay, so which route did you take?
Misty Step.
Are you talking to me?
No, Sirocco to get there.
I'm going this way. I'm gonna reach my hand out so the cat can sniff me, but I'm not gonna try to pet it.
Yep.
Good man. Good man.
Just go this way. And I'm gonna sit this way so I can.
So the way this works is like there's stairwells over here.
Oh,
and
gotcha.
But like this is like a second kind of story. I mean, it's like not that
okay,
tall.
I see it now. I see it.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Okay, then I still go around in the front, and then, oh my god, and then come around.
Bring it around town.
And come all the way to here, so I can see everything. Oh wait, there's more. I have to zoom out. This is a massive fucking room.
Yeah, it's a massive tavern. So you see, basically, as you're walking through, you see a variety of people at the different tables, and some of them are just have drinks and food, and they're like eating and staying relatively quiet. Some of them, like the people to the south, were like arguing, and it looks like they were like laughing / like getting really angry at each other. It looked like a group of adventurers like yourself. Some people have maps laid out on the tables, and they're pointing to them, and like most everyone here looks very capable as far as they all have weapons, and very little of them, almost no one looks like commoners. And there's it's a single waitress walking around taking people's orders. Looks like she's doing it efficiently, and she's moving from each table. I can mark her. So are you gonna did you take the stairwell, or did you just jump over the thing?
I took the stairwell.
Okay.
I'm walking calmly, slowly.
Okay. Yeah. So you see some people eye you, but no one takes note of you, and you definitely notice just walking by the tables is that at each table, the people that are talking, you can hear that they're talking, you hear the sounds, but you don't understand what they're saying at every single table. And you get a close look at this table as you walk by it, and it looks like it's like a ghostly spectral figure. You could roll me a nature or an arcana to understand what this thing is, but all 4 of the people at this table are all looks like they're talking to some spectral figure in the center of the table.
Okay.
And then
so
Malus.
I didn't. I know I didn't have a ton of money like to buy like cool shit, but do I
Yeah,
have,
you have
like
money to
spending
buy a
money? Like,
drink.
I can buy like
and,
a drink.
Yeah, for sure. And I am going to roll something real quick. A couple times. Okay. So you walk up and there's a variety of people sitting at the tavern. Some are talking, some are just drinking. They all have like different glasses with presumably alcohol in them. And the bartender quickly walks over to you to kind of greet you. He's like, "Hi, my name's Shess. What can I do you for?" And he's like a gnome, but he's like a little bit taller for a gnome, to where it's like he reaches like the counter and is able to just reach over it, but he is like still pretty short, obviously, versus your like 6'3" or whatever height. And he hands you a menu, which is like a scroll with a couple of drinks on it, and you see the following drinks. There's Silver's Ale, Roaring Eagle Ale, Slog, Bilgewater, and Dragonfire Brandy. And Chess would say, these are our specialty beers for the night. We switch them, all of them, every night. But what can I do you for? You looking to drink? You looking to eat? I think Kernan would probably be with you. I don't know. He probably wouldn't have fallen Sirocco. I don't know what Darian's doing.
You know what? Actually, I'm looking to do both. But how's this? What makes this brandy Dragonfire?
Well, it's got a real kick to it. It's pretty strong, so it's not for the faint of heart.
All right, I'll take one of those, and so will he.
Sure. Anything on your mind for eats? Or
What do you got?
I've got steak and eggs.
Yep, that's what I want. I want steak and eggs.
Okay.
Brandy,
One steak and eggs, and
It's literally my preferred dinner.
Dragonfire brandy coming right up. What can I do you for, Mr. Dwarf? And Kernan would probably order a steak and eggs as well, because I feel like Kernan would probably enjoy that. So yeah, he starts doing that, and then I guess Darian, you'll walk up as well.
Yeah. Can you? I assume that I heard the drinks. I'll say I was up there, but can you repeat what they all were again?
Yeah, let me type them in here. Silver's Ale, Roaring Eagle Ale, Bilge Water, Slog.
Do I see people looking at them?
Bilgewater? Fucking, what is it, League of Legends?
Maybe. What did you say, Sirocco? Or
I
Alex?
said, do I see people like tavern
Like as they walk
people
through?
being weird? Yeah, or I mean, standing at the bar. Like, are
Uh,
people looking at them now?
no, I mean, like as they made their way through the tavern, it's kind of similar to you. People took note, maybe moved their chairs a little bit to let them walk through. But I mean, your general thing is like everybody's kind of involved in their own things at the table, and you would actually notice as you're standing over the edge right there, of like before this table, there's like three people that are talking to this individual who's standing up and kind of like leaning back against the wall, and you can't understand what they're saying, similar to what you experienced at other places, but they kind of take note of you because it looks like you're like standing right over them. If you were, you don't have to do that because that would be something that
Is there anyone in this tavern that's wearing chainmail?
probably. I mean, there's a variety of different. That chainmail is usually something you wear under your like.
Right. I mean, how many people can I see are like armed?
Everyone has like. I mean, there's different types of. There's like roguish types, fighter types, like caster types.
Right.
Like people are wearing the things that like some people have swords and they're wearing leather armor. Some people have wands or staves with robes, so forth. There's definitely some like everybody looks like competent, and there's definitely some shady looking people. There's some like vivacious people. There's some people that are just sitting alone at a table, like this guy. He's kind of just focused on the music, and it looks like he's minding his own business. Some people are drinking. Some people are planning things or like have maps out, like I said. So you see a variety of activity. And yeah, like if this is a very large tavern. This is above average size.
Darian will take a silver ale.
Okay.
And then what else was on the menu other than the steak and eggs?
We've got fish. I've got, I mean, if you like the green stuff, I've got some salad type things, but most people don't order that here. I mean, what are you looking for?
I'm happy with the fish. I haven't had fish in a while.
Yeah, fish is real good. Comes straight from the port. Our fishermen are very, very competent. So, silver's ale and fish coming up.
So it's a similar situation of the people talking at the bar. It sounds like it's like some dialect we don't understand.
The people at the bar, you can easily tell, their voices are not muffled, nor are they indecipherable. Some of them aren't speaking at all, but like these two individuals right here are like kind of talking in normal tones, and you can understand their conversation. They're just talking about some happening in Wake recently, or they'd be just riffing on something. You can't understand what's happening at the bar, what's being said.
But it's not anything like astounding or
No, nothing noteworthy. I mean, you'd have
Okay.
to like listen pretty closely or like get closer to like listen to what they're saying, because it's not super loud in the bar, but they're also not talking super loud.
who's that?
Who's that? What did you point at? Sorry.
Is this just a large orc?
Yeah,
Saying at the
so
back?
you see a large, like, kind of well-armored orc with his arms crossed, like, standing at the base of the stairwell, and he kind of, like, moved as he let this waitress in, who had, like, coming back with some drink orders, and this is an orc, but it's, like, the size of a Goliath-type person. It's, like, 8 feet tall.
Is he guarding a door, or is he guarding?
No, he's standing kind of just, like, with his arms crossed.
Barkeep?
Yeah, at the
Not
bar,
barkeep,
in between the
stairs.
barkeep and the stairs. But he's
Okay.
not like, he's not directly in his way. He's just kind of standing there, and
Okay.
he actually only has one eye open, and he's just kind of surveying the area as you're standing right
Does
there.
is it like one eye open intentionally, or does he not have another eye?
Now you can't tell. I mean, he doesn't have an eye patch on. There's an eyelid.
Interesting. Okay, so do we get our food, and I can
Yeah.
you
Let's
start
say
making
after
a
waiting a
crowd?
little bit, sitting there, waiting some time, he serves you your drinks and your food.
Hey, Chest.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us, man. This looks awesome. You mind answering a couple questions about this place? We're new here, so I just like to get the lowdown if you don't mind.
Sure. I've been the purveyor at the Sunny Runner for several years now. What can
Oh, great.
what can I answer?
So obviously, we walked in and noticed something a little off about the tables. I'm guessing there's some kind of magic going on that allows for privacy. Is that
Exactly.
correct?
Yes. Every table, as soon as it's assumed by either an individual or a group, then unless you're seated at the table or granted access to the council or the audience at the table, your conversations will be in the utmost privacy. We like to say, speak freely, live freely here at the Sunny Runner, and we grant our patrons the utmost privacy if they require it. I mean, of course, some nights it's open tables, you can go in between them, there's no magic, but in general, that's how it works, and for good reason. We have a lot of people that require such privacy to have conversations and still be in an environment where they can interact, so to speak.
Got it. That makes sense. And so, what kind of people come here to do business? It's I can obviously see the advantages of it. Seems like a pretty cordial place, but I'm just curious, kind of operation, or just is it mostly sort of the adventuring type? Is it certain group that shows up here a lot?
Right.
Or
Yes.
what?
So he's like cleaning a glass as he's saying this. Classic. It's like, yes, of course. Well, we make it no secret, and it isn't a secret because it attracts the people that require our services. I work for the organization. This bar, this tavern, is owned, operated, and welcomed by the Freelancers, which is an organization that you may or may not have heard of, but typically our clientele and our operators and people that wish to contact people within the Freelancers come here to do business, to discuss, to revel in good time, what have you, but not everyone here is part of the Freelancers. Some are merely people that interact with the freelancer company's ancillary, but for the most part, everyone that is here by way of the Freelancers allowing them to be here. And I know that might sound ominous, but with as active and as prominent an organization as Freelancers is, we do have our enemies, and we like this to be a safe space for, as I said before, doing business and sharing in revelry among, for the most part, friends or people that you can at least trust not to try to kill you, if that makes sense. And Wake is generally pretty civil. We don't have a lot of taverns like that. You might find them elsewhere in the region. And he kind of like rolls his eyes. But yes, for the most part, this is freelancer. It's a freelancer space. So that is something that you should know if you didn't already.
Gotcha. And if you don't mind me asking, who's the founder of the Freelancers?
The Freelancers were founded by many independent people coming together with a vision, and the specific story is quite long, but be happy to tell it. But essentially, the Freelancers was founded about 50, 60 years ago by a group of individuals coming together, and there was no single person, if that's what you're asking.
Gotcha. Yep, that was what I was asking. Appreciate it. Okay, great. And so how long has this place been around?
Sunny Runner has been around for about 10 years now, and I've been purveyor here for the last 4.
What happened to the last guy?
He moved on. He got tired of being a bartender, which, as purveyor, that's your primary role here. I do have colleagues. I think you met, or you must have. He greeted you at the door. Io, he's one of my colleagues, a fellow freelancer, and I have several employees. They're not always here. Freelancers like to go their own way. So today I'm pretty short-handed, but we can manage. Kind of the waitress walks by as he hands her a couple drinks to go deliver to the table.
Neat. And look, I'll be straight with you. We were invited here, and the only way we knew we were invited here is someone knew how to read your free cant, which I understand is your symbology, similar to thieves' cant. A little curious as to how anyone would have known put that particular symbology, A, who we were, and B, to put that symbology in a place where they knew someone we were with would see it, but not invite that someone in. Seems a little strange to me.
Yes, I would agree with you. That is strange. Except freelancers in general, and he would glance around, and you can roll me an insight as he glances around.
That wasn't supposed to be an advantage, but 10.
I mean, you can kind of tell he's glancing in a specific direction, and it would be kind of to his right, y'all's left.
Yeah.
It's like certain freelancers in general and certain individuals make it their business to know things. That's kind of what we do. And you said thieves' cant, similar to thieves' cant. Yes, that's true. It's very similar to thieves' cant. We have secret messaging, but freelancers are not thieves. Sorry, that's just I couldn't let that go. I couldn't let that pass.
Oh
by,
yeah,
but,
no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make that association, but
you're
would
right.
agree the symbology is similar.
They are quite similar. But yes, that is an odd arrangement you just described to me. That, well, as far as the who's, the what's, the whys, can't answer that. But I will say, as odd as that is, for freelancers and the kind of business and interactions we have, such a thing is not uncommon. There are all kinds of connections, and not just within Wake, but throughout the realm. Freelancers are, as I said, widespread.
Gotcha. All right. Well, thank you, Shaz. This is helpful. Appreciate it, and also thanks for the food and drink.
Please enjoy it.
Enjoying it.
Stay as long as you like. We're open all night.
I take a sip of the Dragonfire brandy. What's it like? Should I go get some gin and RP this? I don't have any brandy because I'm not a fucking lunatic.
So it starts out smooth, which is surprising. But then the back end of it just kicks in, and it's like red hot. And I mean, depending on Malice's palate, I would guessing he's pretty experienced in this. He's pretty older. He's older, and he's drinking his fair share. And that red hot feeling in the back is satisfying if he partakes in brandy. So yeah, it starts smooth and it ends with a bang with that Dragonfire.
All right. He makes a Clay Thompson Coors Light base and digs into his meal.
All right. Well, as you drink this, as you continue to drink this, and are you just going to eat the meal here and finish it and drink out your drink here?
Yep.
Okay. Roll me a con saving throw as you're drinking this beer. And then
I'm
Darian,
really bad at everything that's not strength and charisma.
Darian, your Silver's Ale is very strong. It's like a triple IPA flavor type thing, and it's stronger than you thought it would be. And I guess how many dwarven beers have you drank? I wonder. Mouse, you're fine. You're handling that drink is pretty well.
Not a lot.
Okay. Yeah. So this is much stronger than you would have thought, and you can roll me a Constitution saving throw as well. And Sirocco, what are you doing now?
I'm waiting. I'm very suspicious of everyone and everything, so I'm watching everything like a hawk.
Okay.
I'm watching everyone to see if they're I'm trying to overhear as many conversations as I can to see what they're talking about, if it sounds natural, if they're just making noise, if they're waiting.
Can you read lips?
Yes.
You can try.
I have a +10.
+10.
I'd like to if I can overhear, I'd like to side-eye Danny Irvin over there and see what
you can roll me a perception as you look over there.
BRB, gotta pee.
So you're not able to hear much from the distance you're at right now. If you move closer, you'd probably be able to hear and then notice that it's similar in nature to the other tables where you can't hear the conversation, but you can see their forms. You see like what looks like a human, similar in nature to you. It's not wearing much clothing, kind of barefoot, baldish head. And then you see what looks like a drow with a cloak on over here. You see an individual like roguish looking with a hat with a feather in it, and then you see what looks like a wizard sorcerer type. All it looks like they're all facing, and their attention is directed to the individual in the back corner. And in the back, you see this figure who is, again, this is like a low light bar, but there's a window here in the back corner that's kind of like streaming in, and it's kind of bathing this area in the sunlight of midday. And you see an individual in the back corner who looks human. He has white hair. He's wearing an ornate shirt and a cloak around with like looks like a cape. He has white silverish hair, youngish looking face, and on his shoulder actually sits a pretty large white owl. And this is the person that all four people at the table seem to be directing their attention and their conversation towards. Looks like they're asking questions. He's responding. They're going back and forth, each taking their turns. He's nodding there. I mean, it looks like it's just a normal conversation. It's nothing like too wild happening or anything. But yeah, so that's what you see. But you can't hear the conversation or what the specifics are.
Okay.
And Malice, in this time, presuming that you finish your beer, you see on my Chrome is, how much stuff do I have open? Not that much. Just a couple of tabs at RAM. Oh yeah, Darian, based on that Constitution saving throw, you're like feeling a little tipsy for sure. Like that beer was already pretty strong and you didn't really down it that well. Maybe you weren't prepared for that level. Okay, Darian, you notice like as you finish your mug is kind of clear glass, see-through obviously, and whenever you finish your beer, you notice on the bottom of the mug through the glass there's a coin, and you can clearly see with your special owl eyes, or if you're still wearing your mask, as you finish this beer, the light kind of reflects. Yeah, he has an owl mask.
Wait, are you talking to me?
Yeah,
Wait, what?
Malice. Sorry.
Oh.
Wait, as I finish my brandy?
Darian.
As you finish your beer, it's in a mug, and on the bottom of it...
Did I get a beer?
Whatever.
I got the beer.
Yeah. It's in a mug. Let's say it's in a, I guess you got the Dragonfire brandy, so it'd be in the glass. The glass that it's in, on the bottom of it, it's see-through. You can see a coin, and as you're drinking it, you see the light reflecting off of it, and the coin drops off the bottom of it. Do you try to catch it, or do you just let it hit the table?
Sure, I try to catch it.
Roll me a sleight of hand, and you unmistakably see on the coin, it says Amor Fati, as it's sticking to the back of the bottom of the glass, and then it drops. You're able to catch it pretty easily. As soon as the coin touches your hands, you feel almost it's like an empathic message to where you just like implicitly understand this, but it's as if it's explained to you in such a way as this. The syndicate has you marked. I shouldn't need to explain to you the importance of this, but the syndicate's level of control and influence throughout the realm is considerable, as I'm sure you know. So tread lightly. I have no reason to believe you are in considerable danger. Being marked just means observation and inquiry. Much like the freelancers, they are more spies than assassins, although they certainly engage in both. The difference is that this syndicate is soaked in the darkness of Tenebris. The freelancers are entirely unaligned in such regards. This is the first and last free information you receive from me. Consider it a down payment. And you feel the coin as you kind of catch it. You feel all this, and then you feel it implore you to give it to Darian, specifically, who it doesn't know is standing next to you or anything. You can't get that, but like it wants to be handed to someone else, and that person's name is Darian.
I shy in game. All right. Well, I did say I was going to get up and leave. Any weird shit happened. This is kind of weird shit, but I guess I know who this is from. Was this table open?
What table?
Yeah, it is. I'm gonna grab Darian and Corinne and bring him over here.
Okay.
All right, my dudes. I got given a weird letter. That thing I said was from my friend, not from my friend. It was from some weird dude that knew Agalor. Told me I was going to be his person that he was going to exchange information with from now on. Went and inquired about him. Apparently he's named the detective, and I just got given. This coin appeared at the bottom of my drink. To qualify that as something pretty weird. I'm getting pretty tired of this. But he basically said I was marked by the syndicate and communicated with me through this coin. And Darian, for some reason or another, it wants me to give it to you.
Hmm.
I put the coin on the table and I walk back to the bar and I ask for shots.
Chess would present a shot of some unnamed liquor. He's like, here you go. This is the shot of the day.
You give it to me?
Yeah.
Oh. Appreciate it, Shaz. I could use it. Or is it? Sorry, it's Chess.
Shaz.
Shaz is the guy I work with.
It's Chess, but he doesn't
sorry.
care that you call him Shez or Shaz.
All right. No, I'm calling him Chess. Sorry. My new coworker's name is Shaz. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Chaz. Sorry to keep bugging you with stuff. And I'm also sorry if this is a heavy question, but you know anything about the detective?
Roll me an insight as he reacts to this. Yeah, he looks up at you. He's leaning over, putting some drinks away. It's like, the detective, I've heard stories, but no, I don't know, one, who that is, or two, if he's even real. But yes, freelancers discuss the detective. Detective's known in Wake. I've actually heard people from out of town mention that they know him, but no, I don't know anything about him specifically. I've heard mentions, but could just be a myth.
Okay, well, there was something weird at the bottom of my drink that you handed me, and I'm a little concerned about it.
Something weird? Sorry.
Yeah, there was a coin. There was a coin at the bottom of my drink, and
A coin.
just curious
Well-
how it got there.
That was not. It's not something I did. The Dragonfire brandy I gave you. I don't know how that
Yep.
got there.
Can I roll insight?
Yeah. He looks sincere.
All right. Thanks, Jess.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, I couldn't be
Yep.
more help.
Hey, no problem. I take the shot.
Okay.
And I walk back to the table.
Okay. What is everybody doing?
Did you just get one shot?
He just put it in front of me when I walked up.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pick up Yo coin.
So again, similar experience. Whenever Malos picked it up, you feel this empathic message, and it says, "As I told Malos, all of you are marked, but I also told him that this was the first and last free information that I would give you, but that's not true. If you're able to answer a specific question I have for you, Darian, it won't be the last. It'll be the second to last." What? He asks, the coin asks, "What god do you worship?"
The coin
My-
asks this?
Speaking out loud or mentally to the coin?
You understand kind of implicitly, you can interact with this thing the same way it's interacting with you.
Okay. So I'll tell it that I worship whore.
Okay. It responds with a little bit more information, and it says, "The syndicate has had you marked since Mindos 18, which is a date, and you
Yes.
understand this time is exactly 2 weeks before you arrived in Wake. And this is presuming all of you arrived in Wake around the same time. Maybe not the exact same time, but then it doesn't say anything else."
So the syndicate had me marked 2 weeks before I arrived, and all it did is ask for the god I worship.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I say like, "Hello, is anyone there?" I don't know if I can get the coin to like respond again.
Yeah, kind of as you're holding it, you turn it over. It has Amorphity on one side. The other side has the profile of a skull. But any more inquiries you send into it, it doesn't return with anything.
Okay. I'll put the coin down and say, "Well, Malice, that was fucking weird." And I don't know. I feel like you're saying, everywhere we go, something bad happens, and this again doesn't seem like it's something good.
Yeah, I mean, at least that was helpful information.
Well, I don't know what it told you, but it kind of just asked me.
Well, the coin indicated before it asked you that it had just told Malos that basically the same thing it told you, that you had been marked.
Okay.
I thought I told you that too. Maybe I didn't.
Either way.
Might have. I was trying not to meet a game, but yeah, I mean, the coin just told me that I was marked, but also it just randomly asked for the god I worship and said nothing about it. So kind of weird.
What god do you worship?
I worship whore.
Who is that? Wait, is it? Can you spell that out for me?
Hoar.
You can roll me a religion to see if you know anything about it. You know Yeah, I would say you don't even know who Hor is with that role.
Interesting. I wonder why I wanted to know what god you worshipped. What's well, we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to talk about it, but I've never heard of Hor. What's he all about? Or she?
Or is known as the Doombringer, and
You delivered that so casually.
The Doom.
yeah. So,
Malice,
I mean, maybe you've heard of him by that name, but
Malice raises one eyebrow.
yeah, he's the vengeful deity of retribution, and he's really big on payment for an eye, kind of that ideology, and that's kind of what really goes along with my morals in life. So
Interesting. Maybe we're not so dissimilar.
interesting.
Well, I'm starting to question the merit of vengeance. Perhaps you can enlighten me again, but we don't have
What?
to talk about this now.
Krunan would
Yeah,
lean in
started-
at this point and say, "I like vengeance."
Oh, Krunan, you're so cute. Yeah, we could talk about it later. Have we finished our meals at this point? How full
Yeah.
is my belly?
I'd say it's a pretty solid. Yeah, you're full. Like if you ate any more, you'd probably be overeating and wouldn't feel good. It was
Okay.
enough of a portion for a
Okay.
hardy folk like you.
So what is? Do we see Sirocco up on his perch? I don't know if Sirocco is.
I would say you would have seen him walk over there. You see him perching over, looking around.
Okay. I'm gonna cast a
Notice
message.
anything?
I'm
Okay.
gonna cast a message and ask if he
Nice.
sees anything.
Okay.
Dirty.
So you'd hear that. You'd be able to respond with a message of your own. Sirocco whispering back to Malice. It'd be like a couple sentences. at
I mean,
most.
I want to look around again. Do I recognize like the song that's playing on the piano? Anything at all? That is weird.
You could roll me a intelligence to see if you know the song and the piano. You do not recognize the song.
There's Malice. I am a bard.
Yeah, that's what I want to. I want to ask you.
You
I want
would
to tell
recognize
you
this
to
as like
keep your eyes out, and
She's been shifting. The piano player has been shifting in and out of many different songs, but in general, they're all pretty relaxing, like more chilling, like peaceful, like tunes. Doesn't get very lively. Kind of matches the atmosphere, but you don't recognize the specifics of the song unless you rolled intelligence also, if you wanted.
I'm okay.
Okay.
I mean, I guess I tell him if I don't see anything else that's weird, then I tell him I don't see anything, and why stay? Why not just walk out? We can find somewhere else where we're not surrounded by strangers who are all armed.
This is true,
They
but
all
we
know
are.
each other and we don't.
I'll cast message again. This is true, but we are already here. Should we just hear this dude out?
Hey, Malice, tell Sirocco I said hi.
Also, Darian's a fuckboy. You can reply to this message.
Okay. Yeah, he is.
Because hey,
I'll wave and smile.
Or pretend like I didn't see him. I'm gonna like split my eyes and like look across him.
So is Sirocco gonna come over here, or do we need to? Is he gonna keep watch when we? Well, I don't even know if that'd be useful. I'm sure the person that we're supposed to talk to is gonna know of all of us being in here, so it probably doesn't make sense for any of us to not join.
do we know who we're supposed to be talking to?
Yeah.
I heard that the
Whenever
boss was in the corner. Whenever
Io
we talked
indicated-
to Io, yeah.
this.
Yeah,
Where the guy at the
I
top.
know that, but I wasn't in the. Malice wasn't in the.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, so I'll say that. Io told us to go talk to the person in the corner.
Who the fuck is
I'll
that?
indicate the far corner of the room.
Oh, you mean the bouncer guy?
Oh,
You talking
yeah,
about
Okay.
this fuck boy?
yeah. The
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 JPEG?
JPEG fuckboy. Yeah,
Yeah.
Seems
That's
like
the
a
back
real
corner of the
square.
room.
fuckboy or fuck girl. Can't tell if it's a boy or girl.
I don't know. Can't zoom in.
So
that
I think
far.
it's a boy. Yeah, it's just zoomed all the way in.
I don't like to make assumptions about gender.
Oh, yeah. Oop, my bad.
All right.
Got an owl.
I go up and I sit at this chair.
Okay. Yeah, you'd have to walk kind of this direction to go up the stairs if you wanted to, like, you could
Yep,
climb
I
up
do that.
there. Okay. As you do, this giant orc's eye kind of goes over you, but he doesn't make any movement or stop you or anything. And as you walk by this, you see two individuals here and here. And you see this person first because they're facing you, and it's like a kind of cloaked individual wearing a mask, and the mask looks pretty ornate, and it looks like they're playing a game of what looks like dragon chess on a table in between them. And this person right here looks like a woman, and she's wearing a mask also, but it's like a mask just covering her eyes, like a kind of like a masquerade type mask. And they're carefully plotting, don't really pay attention to you, but you see them playing a game of dragon chess. And I guess, is Malice walking up alone, or are y'all walking with him?
I'm going with him.
Okay, Brunan would be following. So as y'all like walked up and maybe past these people, Sirocco, what are you doing?
I guess I will. I mean, can I signal for Malice to message me again?
What's that?
Yeah, I mean, you could make a signal, and I think Malice, based on what y'all just interacted, how y'all just interacted, you could probably. How would you signal that?
Hey.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I would probably. I mean, there's no reason why we wouldn't be like, if we just talked and then he was going to move up there, like I'd be watching them, they'd be watching, he'd be looking like to this table and then seeing if I was going to like come that way. So I should be able to like kind of give him a head nod or something.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
Like
definitely
the
looked at you.
phone call sign.
So you can message him, or you would get the understanding that that's what he's wanting you to do.
Can I interpret that as like him nodding at me and I can wave again?
You do whatever you want, Darian.
Okay, I'm going to interpret that as him nodding at me. I'm going to wave again and smile again.
I make like a frustrated play it cool sign.
Okay, I want to show.
I cast message and say, "What's up?"
I mean, how do you want to approach this? You want to message him and just like get the jump on somebody for the first time and just say like, fucking.
You want me to just fucking walk over there and cast dissonant whispers on him? Because I will.
Well, I mean, you can't you message him? Can you message him from afar and just be like making eye contact with him and startle somebody for
If
once?
y'all
Like,
already
not
walked up-
necessarily threaten him, but like.
If you walked up that far,
Okay.
you could say this
you-
is happening earlier, but he's already Malice, Krunan, and Darian would already
You're already
see that
close
he
enough.
recognizes you and sees you. And he's about to do something, but I was letting this happen before that.
Just message him. It's like some type of intimidation. I'm just like, let's go talk, or we're here to see you, or something. Just
Well, as
they've had the advantage in every conversation by.
All right, I do it. I cast message.
Well,
And him.
as you're walking up, you see him notice you, and he kind of waves his hand over the table, and he says, "Hi, oh!" And as he waves his hand over the table, the four individuals near him kind of all start to get up in unison. And you said you're messaging him?
If he's doing that, I'm not messaging him. But
Okay. So you walk up and you kind of see the same thing Sirocco saw from a distance. It's it's like a younger looking man. He looks like he's like late 20s, early 30s. Looks like he's a human. He has silver hair, youngish looking face, and there's an owl on his shoulder, and he's sitting in the back corner of this in his chair. He's getting up as he says ho, and so are the four people around him, and they're kind of just two of them stream past you this direction, and then the other two go past Sirocco kind of, and they go and sit at a table nearby. And this is what he looks like. He would say, following that, he'd say, "Ho, welcome to the Sunny Runner. My name is Sleude, and I'm a freelancer." And he like bows almost, but then he gets up and he's like chuckling and he's looking to you expectantly. And then he sits back down and he kind of motions his hand out. It looks like he's drinking like a small tea in front of him, and he reaches over the table, takes a sip from it, and then he reaches over and he puts the tea to his owl's lips as well, or beak as well. So Malice, you see at the table, Darian, and then
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Brian.
to the table too.
Sirocco, what are you doing? He would be making these motions to the group in front of him, but you see all this happening.
You pronounce that Slade?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'll go to the table.
pretty boy ass, Teen Titan villain ass motherfucker.
I'm gonna sit like right next to him.
Where's your mask?
He as you walk up as well, he's like, yes, and he looks at everybody expectantly. He's like, see, we in the industry consider such an introduction a good joke because we're like spies. Revealing our identity is foolish. Forget about it. Please take a seat, Sirocco. I'm at an advantage right now. I understand that, but maybe not sit right there. You would say if you tried to sit right next to him.
Hey, Sirocco, I think you should sit wherever you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay.
Don't tell our friend what to do.
Well, it's
No, I'm kidding.
somewhat rude. I guess that's
You
fine.
homo? Phobic?
Whoa. That's not at all what I was
Put my hand on
indicating,
his
and I am
hand.
just the opposite. But wait, what did you say?
I said I put my hand on his hand.
He would put his other hand atop your hand and be like, Sirocco, please.
And I put my other
why?
hand on top of his hand. And I
Okay.
still have to...
He leaves them there. He leaves it there as you're intertwined. He's like, I just want to speak with you as a group, each of you, for a few moments. If you have the time and the inclination, he looks at each one of you.
Do we need to
Oh,
give
so
you all, you two a moment and cover your owl's eyes for you?
I say, don't look at them, look at me.
He looks at you and he's smirking. You can roll me a charisma check.
11.
Yeah, by the way, I posted a GIF of what I was doing to Sirocco, so it's canon.
Yeah, I saw it. So yeah, he continues staring at you, and he it's still like kind of waiting on y'all's response to. He just said I wish to speak with you as a group for a few moments, if you have the time and the inclination. And he looks at each one of you. You say that, and then he continues looking at you, Sirocco, and he's smirking as your hands are intertwined. And I am miming the thing right now. I am fully in character.
Well, I think we're all here and ready to talk. So, what would you like to discuss?
Yes, I beckoned you here in a way, but I've had messages on various boards on the market walls within Free Cant, and I even sent some couriers around to contact you over the course of the last week, but they haven't been able to find purchase. Well, to be clear, the reason I know who y'all are, I am within the freelancers. If that isn't obvious, I don't know if you talked to anyone else here, perhaps talked to Chess, but I wish to meet with you ever since Faye exchanged to me. She had a new addition to her little startup of fighters, of evil, explorers of strange lands. She's made it very marketable, hasn't she? And she signed y'all on to take on a job, and I don't know the progress, but I presume that she sent you out to retrieve something from a forgotten temple in the Outlands. We helped inform her of its location, and I'm aware of what it was, and I know there was more than a few other powerful individuals seeking such a treasure. In fact, you might have met up with them when you went. But to the victor goes the spoils, and such a victory invites acknowledgement, I think, which serves as the why of my little invitation. Since you are back in Wake, I can see, and you got my message one way or the other, he was looking at each one of you, and willing to accept my invitation here into the Sunny Runner, I hope to steal a few moments of your time for an offer that I hope you will find meaningful and or reasonable. And he sees that y'all are like uneasy or unsure of why he's saying these things. Before we begin, I don't know how much you know of the Sunny Runner. I want to make this very clear. This place around us, he kind of motions with one of his hands, and he brings it back and puts it back in your hand, Sirocco. It's a safe environment for conversation, perhaps one of the safest places for conversation in the whole city. There are certain protections here. You probably noticed them, some of which my colleagues and I have created ourselves. So by all means, you may speak freely. But enough of my rambling. How are you doing? How have your travels been? I don't actually know y'all. I just know who you are by way of word of mouth.
You need to know anything. I don't think you need to know anything about us. What's your offer?
Sensing some hostility, and he releases his hands from your Sirocco.
No, I don't let him. I grip him.
Roll me a little strength check.
I grip his wrist.
Grapple.
I say, stay cool.
keep your hands over
I'm
your
Samuel Jacksoning him at the end of Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, he's able to. He doesn't really like jerk his hands away, but he's able to like kind of release them away from yours, and you can't really maintain your grip. He appears like he's
sweaty.
Yeah, you're a little bit sweaty maybe. He puts his hands up and he's like, sorry, I don't understand what exactly is wrong.
There's a decent amount of stuff wrong, but let's start with the fact that you know all this shit about us.
Well, to be
How
fair,
do you know all that?
Maybe Faye didn't tell you. She probably didn't. I mean, I would hope she would tell you something about the freelancer's role in her little startup operation that she's trying to engage with. But I'm what you may call a a regional leader within the freelancers, and it has been my role to provide her with information we've exchanged. I've exchanged with her some of the points of interest to which she is now directing some of her resources, and she has told me of your names and your roles as she recruited you, and I merely got the message, and then once you accomplished your mission, she relayed that to me as well, and I wish to meet you myself, understanding, as I just mentioned, that your ability to retrieve the item that I told her about and that she is now presumably retrieved was a rather impressive feat. So I sent out messages and an invitation to you if I could find you. You were still in the city, and it's been over a week now, and I was wondering maybe if you had left, but here you are, and I just asking a genuine "how are you" question is what that was. I'm sorry if I offended in any way, or if I can tell you don't appreciate your identities perhaps being known to a stranger, and I can understand that.
No,
but
it's just that a lot of strangers have started to know our identities recently. I'm not super keen on that. Ever since we started working for Faye, a lot of bad shit's happened to us, and I'm not super thrilled about
bad
her,
shit.
or frankly, her colleagues.
How long have you known Faye?
I have known Faye for several years now. She is, you can roll me an insight as you see him beginning to speak about this.
Oh shit.
Yeah, you can sense he's rather taciturn about this as you mentioned Faye and asking how long he's known her, he's it's not that he's holding anything back, but he's unsure of how to proceed because of something that he knows. And he would kind of put his hands to his face and say, Faye, honestly, and he looks around even as if he's not confident in the spell at the table, almost looking around to see if other people are listening. And he says, Faye, and he looks you directly in the eyes, Malice, or I guess Darian, you're the one that said that. Mm-hmm. Faye's the reason I called you here, specifically her. And before I go into the offer, I don't know how much. I'm at a loss as far as I'm at a disadvantage how much you know about my organization, and if you either don't know very much or have very bad experiences or have heard bad things about the freelancers, I would wish to clear that up. I would wish to explain to you exactly what it is my organization does. So what is your knowledge and or opinion of the freelancers?
I don't think we have anything against the freelancers. It's just we were curious how long you known Faye. So are these guys all, turn my head and look, are these guys just standing on the stairwell kind of blocking it?
No.
Or are they just...
No, they walked all the way away. I didn't move them. But yes, I just would wonder what you've heard or what you know about the freelancers. If I could elaborate, I'd be happy to.
We've heard what Faye's told us. At least I've heard what Faye's told us. And sure, it seems like, maybe you guys are aligned, you're just working for information, whatever it is, but it still seems like a organization with a decent amount of power, and every organization with power has its aims. And so
That is certainly true, Malos.
A little, you'll forgive me if I have some trepidation about working with any of the groups that are seeking something in this world right now, as I've had bad run-ins with about 3 of them in the last week. So
I would believe it, and I'll be honest, I don't know what kind of shit, as you said, you've gotten into, but if there's any shit going on in this realm, I can shorten the list down of what you're probably speaking of, and I don't know what she told you of her relationship with the Free, or what she told you of the Free itself and the services we provide, and what our whole telos is, or our origins, but I would just want to clear up. Let me begin by being completely honest with you. I'll be stone cold true to you right now. And he'd look to you, Sirocco, if you're still sitting right next to him. He'd put his hand on your shoulder and he would say, I am a spy. I am a gatherer of information. I make it my business to know what is going on all around me and within my colleagues within the realm. You can call me a regional coordinator, a leader, if you will, within the Free, one of many leaders, but in truth, that's not the truth. There are no real positions of authority among us, and you'd point to you, Malice, and you'd say, and that's part of the reason is your trepidation about power structures and organizations. That's the point. The telos of the freelancers is one of freedom of movement, if you will. We of the Free are each independent, autonomous, and quite valuable, equally valuable resources which we tap. And we are a community of equally vital members, and that's vital information to know. There is no hierarchical chain of command, and unlike what you might see in some other organizations, perhaps the one you're speaking of, we try to treat everyone, and he would look to each one of you, as an end of themselves and not a means, if you understand such phrasing. We exist not for profit. We are paid only what we need to remain safely within existence, and we exist to serve no individual, no man, no woman, no kingdom or reign or region or any god. We exist solely to serve the realm and the people that make it up in both this political and spiritual sense. Our mission, he put his hand on the table, is to enlighten. You could say we are in many ways the antithesis of the dreadful syndicate, and perhaps you've encountered them or their agents, and few haven't. Many have and have never returned or have never spoken again. This other organization, I will admit, performs similar work to us, but in the shadows and towards the ends of sowing chaos, the kind of thing they best capitalize upon, the free wish to know the truth and use it to better the realm. The syndicate wants to create the truth. Our cause is to make available the resources not only necessary for the common folks to survive, but for them to thrive. In this sense, you could say we're at odds with both the syndicate and Magia, and you would be correct. Magia's tell us is to investigate, understand, and control. They openly admit that. That's their motto. But their relationship to the truth is one of obstruction. They seek to wall off the truth and keep it to themselves. I couldn't think of a more opposite position to the free. We, I would say, honestly, and Malice, I understand your trepidations, but the freelancers, I would deign to say, rival both Magia and the syndicate's reach and their power, standing in opposition to such irresponsible, malevolent directives. The freelancers wholeheartedly believe, with great power becomes great responsibility. We're here to promote freedom in all of its forms and cultivate the flourishing of good communities as much as we are capable. We and I wish to see the potential of our civilization and its many diverse peoples maximized. And we will do what it takes to set the stage for such an awakening. And he would pause here and kind of like lean back in his chair. He would take another sip of tea as his eyes are closed. He's taking a deep breath. And you can roll an insight kind of on what he just said and his reaction to, or his kind of to this moment where he's pausing. Everyone that wanted to roll that could roll
Sure,
it.
yeah. Let's put that.
Siraki, you still got that, you got the insider loop on him. What do you got? Okay, so you can kind of tell what he's been saying up to this point. He's like, he means what he says, obviously. That's clear to tell from all of you. But you can tell what he said up to this point is kind of the thing that he would pitch to maybe anyone. Maybe it's not specific to y'all, Sirocco. But you can tell this pause and the opening words of the thing he's about to say. You can clearly tell, like, just standing this close to him, being in his aura, feeling his hands, which are rough. They're not soft. They're rough. And you can tell that what he's about to go into is not something he says often. Daring Malice, you're kind of just understanding he means these things, and so far he's like, as a regional coordinator, or however you put it, of the freelancers, this is kind of something he would, this seems rehearsed, obviously. But yeah, Sirocco, you understand that, and he would say, you continue, he put down his tea after letting his owl drink it again. He would say, you see, I am a bit of an explorer myself, a traveler across the entire realm. In my role, in order to be most effective, I personally have to be everywhere. And I believe in the power of efficiency. I believe in the power and efficiency of delegation, don't get me wrong. But there's something about being there, seeing things with your own two eyes, fully and clearly, envisioning this world, and its peoples and its ideals as they are meant to be seen. There's a necessity to that. Perhaps you may agree. So I make it to be there, to see the work of intelligence gathering and the decisions that are made from it in person, my own boots on the ground. I hope you'll respect my presence here now in this meeting with y'all. I have much work to be doing right now, but I think this is important. That's why I'm here. So I'm reaching out and communicating this message in person. So I wish to discuss the arrangement if you are inclined to hear it. And he would kind of wait.
The arrangement for...
The arrangement I propose deals with a future transaction of information, but more so experience between yourselves and myself. And not just myself, but my whole organization, the freelancers, this freelancing anonymous network of spies. And y'all, as a traveling group, as you continue to operate as Phase Prime Squadron of explorers, investigators, adventurers, warriors, what have you. necessarily know what she plans to do with individuals such as yourselves. But in short, I wish to work more closely with your group. In many ways, you've already begun working as extensions of the Free, indirectly through your short time with Faye. Now, I won't deny our connection, though it is one with many distinctions, that of my work with Faye. Through my network, as I said, I've learned of your exploits and your recent escapades here in the West and around Wake in the Outlands. As I understand it, you took down Gilvarnek. That's proof alone of the efficacy of your capabilities. And here's the deal I want to make with you right now. At any time from here on out, you come to me with questions you want answered, if you're so inclined. Whether they are in real time, time-sensitive, historical, abstract, spiritual, sexual, and he looks at you, Sirocco, as he says that in the eyes, cyansical. Whatever it is, I will deploy the necessary resources, internal and external, of my own self in an effort to answer them. In exchange, I seek something simple. I wish only for your information and your experiences from your own travels and discoveries. In short, I wish to open an exchange of intel between my organization and your party. I ask of this primarily due to your uniquely salient nature of your employment with Faye. She is quite the formidable player in this little world of ours, and it interests me what one of her own former spy masters proposes to have our men doing out in this changing and chaotic world. Your position is an incredibly promising one to be granted the opportunity of such powerful consideration. I'm sure she told you something similar. It's very familiar to me. It's something you should not take lightly. Similar to my own proposition, I hope you will not take my own consideration and that of the freelancers lightly. And as he says the word lightly, roll an intelligence and a perception check.
Beep. Oh.
It's probably the same thing. Ooh.
Okay. So in general, your passive insight, I'm going to say, is you're like, to get like an understanding of kind of his mood. He's been saying this and he's been speaking very sincerely based on your previous roles and just everything he said, but he's been very relaxed as he said all this. And I would say mostly Sirocco, really, like maybe only Sirocco. You notice something, and maybe this is from your cautious nature, and you notice the intelligence check is going to give you, you understand you are feeling the effects of some kind of magic, but it's benign in a way where this moment something's about to turn, and you're feeling it as a magical effect, and you know it's magical, but it's not arcane magic, and that's all I would be able to tell you. Your perception check, you see you're standing really close to Slade, so this would be lore. You see his eyes dart to each one of you as he says the word lightly, one after another, right after he finishes the word lightly. And as he finishes that word, on the word lightly specifically, you realize something profound about these last few minutes as you hear Slade, this finely dressed, serenely imaged man, speaking with reserved confidence. He's relaxed. He's just speaking his piece. He means it, but he's not stressed at all. His words come from his mouth, physically entering your ears, and is heard with perfect clarity. He's speaking common. But at the same moments as these words, or this word lightly is delivered, another message entirely is heard just within your mind space. It is understood somehow, some way, and it is exactly the same voice, the same candor you're receiving now, but with a new tone. And it's one that is extremely stressed. And you're sitting here, and it's this would be like an anime sequence where everything then goes black and you only see him sitting at the table and he's still speaking to you. You understand he is, but it's now telepathic, and this is what he says. I am now speaking to you 2 layers deeper. In the runner here, at the individual booths, as you know, there's magics which scramble language to all but those in the booth. However, there are certain enhanced individuals whom can translate such scrambling in real time and easily. That's the first layer. The second layer is now I'm speaking to you telepathically, psychically. And you can see him like, his body's like shaking with tension. The magic scrambling of our words takes place in the mental sphere as well, but thoughts can be read. I am simultaneously employing an absolute mental defense technique to block out any potential intrusions. However, I can neither prove this to you, nor can I truly make certain no one is listening right now. However, he pauses. All of this is to be able to convey a deeper message to you without the opportunity for these others, all freelancer agents and contacts, to listen in. As far as I'm concerned, any one of them could be Syndicate, Storm, Enclave, or absolutely loyal to Faye. We have limited time here. This communique will take about a millisecond of real time. If we go for longer than that, I could risk damaging my own mind and perhaps yours. And like, he is speaking this quickly. Listen to me carefully. You are now entering a world of shadows and deceptions and precarious prevarications and dangers of a kind you cannot yet imagine. You need to understand this before you hear another word. As you step into this, your life will never be the same. Perhaps it isn't already. You need to promise something to yourself throughout the conflicts that lie ahead. Never stop learning about the world around you. Always keep your head on a swivel. I would never tell you not to trust anyone because you have to in order to survive, and it would be an abject misery to live in such a way. At the very least, find a way to trust yourself. I simply wish in these moments to convey the necessary countermeasures which must always be in place to avoid such destruction. Continue to light yourself to your many ignorances and an awareness of your position in the jungle of the game around you, and you make no mistake about it, are in a game. Now, these things might seem obvious to seasoned adventurers as yourself. You've survived many battles, what have you. Again, I don't know your histories, but I've met so many that cannot practice what they preach, and they always end up paying for it one way or the other, myself included. Take these words with you and make them action. And I mean no offense by this, unless you consider it one, in which sense I do mean every offense. But make no mistake here, you are certainly pawns in this game. It just doesn't have to stay that way if you can manage it. Now, what I'm telling you is true. This deal I offer your group is in play, and if you wish to accept it for your own good, I hope you do. Sharing information in this particular way with the free could be quite lucrative depending on your demeanor, and is something many would kill for literally. There is incredible value in being in a relationship with myself and freelancers. But aside from that, there is something else, something you should have already realized, something I can tell you've already realized. You absolutely cannot trust Faye. I'm not sure how else to convey this. What I have known and experienced for what is a short but yet very long time now is imparted in those words. Depending on how much she trusts you, she might have revealed her grandiose plan, tipped her God complex, laid out her entire thesis. You don't have to tell me anything in that regard, one way or another. But if she has, that's good, because that means she trusts you at least a little bit. Your character just as much as your ability. This fact will go a long way in our potential business operation. She has her part to play, and I want you to be there for it. Even if it may seem like it, I'm not asking you to be a mole. And he's kind of getting more, struggling to get these words out as he continues. I'm asking you to do a job. She's definitely playing her true cards close to the chest. I know this, and you likely know this. But she isn't dangerous to you for now. I have some ideas for what she plans to do, and I need more time to observe and see it play out. In the meantime, following along with her hand in hand will be extremely valuable. She'll lead you to places, guide you to persons and events and treasures of the most worldly, impactful, and rare and lucrative kind by her own design. Understand this. She is a master wizard with a penchant for adventuring and delegating and sharing in the fruits of those world-changing endeavors with those under her wing. This goes without saying, but try to take advantage. Now, what she told you is true. She did help to found the freelancers many years ago and imbue us with a mission that remains intact. Additionally, we are the primary source of her current information she's using to weaponize adventurers such as yourselves throughout the realm. We certainly are not the only ones. She has many old contacts in many different places from her old Magia days. She has no oversight over our current operations. We have been free of her influence or any of her kind, that of being adept magic users, for a long time. At this point, she pays for the intel like everyone else, with coin and with information of her own. It's been a continuous and relatively stable operation thus far. Before you ask, the answer is no. The freelancers didn't have anything to do with the attack on Fallhold or the disguise on its timing. The intel we gave Faye, which led to your own group's intervention, as far as I could tell, was good. Gilverneck and his band made their attack and headed south along the River Song. I do not know what happened from there, but our investigations are ongoing. And he closes his eyes at this point. Looks like he's trying to maintain focus. He says one final thing. This is the last bit of information I will provide for free, which is ironic perhaps. It's a bit of a teaser, more of a question. I bet you're wondering, and if you aren't, you should be, why Faye got exiled from Magia as the sole Archmage those years ago? Perhaps if you more fully earn my trust, I will have to tell you all about it. And at this point, this mental connection would end. You're back at the word lightly, where you started. The sound of lightly hits your ears physically. This message in your mind space is ended, completed in the very same moment. Sleude's eyes are enlivened, but he generally looks the same. After a few, he leans back in his seat and has a placid look on his face, and he's just silent for a moment.
Malus pulls out Olivar in dagger form and stabs it in the table and says, "I'm in."
He closes his eyes and like nods to you, but he doesn't say anything. And your passive insight saying like he closes his eyes and then opens them again, and he's glancing all around the room. But he doesn't make any motions or movements after a few moments. And I would say, yeah. So Mouse does that.
Darren will sigh, thinking about it.
The piano music emanates back. It's like you're back in this scene. You weren't hearing the piano music before. You weren't hearing the general din in those moments. You just heard his voice.
Trying to think what I could say without trying to like, because I mean he did put us in like his mind palace for that discussion, so I don't want to like discuss it openly. But we didn't really feel like we didn't have any room for discussion, so I'm just not going to say anything about it. But
well, I mean, you still know that like the general magic of the scrambling at the table is something that like is still active right now, and he kind of explained why he went into the mind palace, but
yeah. I mean, just in terms of like trying to maintain keeping things secret. I mean, Darren doesn't want to just say something that would entirely depurpose the whole mind palace thing. So Darren would hesitantly agree as well to working with him.
He would nod to you as well if you said that to him. Krunan would kind of at this point say, he would nod and say, "I'm with them," to in between Darren and Miles. And at this point, he would open his eyes again. He's kind of leaning in his chair. He has his hand back on stroking his chin. It's like he's like regained some of his composure, and he would side eye glance at you, Soraka, as you're well in his personal space, kind of just looking at you expectantly.
I asked him to repeat that.
Oh my God! Yes.
Oh boy,
That's the best possible thing he could have said.
so
he starts laughing, like he starts laughing like out loud, like I just did. That was in character, and he would clap you on the back, and he's like, "I'll be sure to write it down." But once again, no one's laughing. That was a joke. I would never write any of that down. And he like falls over a little bit. I hope you have photographic memories.
As a seasoned performer, I gotta say you gotta work on your jokes, Sleude. I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just trying to be constructive.
I agree. It's the timing, isn't it? It's the timing. It's. I don't lead up to it. The jokes themselves, the content though, it's cleanly good.
Well, maybe it's just us. You know, we're not spies, so we don't like get a ton of spy humor.
Fuck. You're right. Well, he would look at each one of you, be like, "Well, you are now."
What happens next?
Well, I presume that I don't know if you've already. Well, again, I don't know your current position, but if you haven't met back up with Faye, then she's gonna want to do that, and whatever shit you've been in, she's gonna want to debrief on, I would presume. And the next step is to do so, and I can make the arrangements. I can't do it here, but I can make the arrangements to send you something to Faye's keep. It'll be one of our normal dead drops. I've been sending her either magical messaging or literal couriers. She has various portal magics, as you know, and within that will be something for y'all. It'll be a way to contact me, and that our arrangement would be based upon such interactions going forward. And honestly, I don't know what y'all will be doing, so I don't have a step-by-step plan for action points, but the most important part of this will be communication. And he looks at each one of you.
So you're upfront about telling us you're a spy. I mean, do we ever like? I mean, at this point, I feel like we don't have many reasons to distrust you, but why should we trust you?
I trust you because you're the only person that said anything that makes any goddamn sense.
Well, thank you. And
I want to hear from
to your inquiry, Darian, I would hope that the truth is enough, and that will be difficult to. It's difficult to gain anyone's trust. I understand that, and my own colleagues, while most of them may be anonymous, some of them aren't, and I know individuals within this tavern that I would trust with my life. but there's many other individuals in this tavern that are in the same organization as me and that I've interacted with on countless number of times. I may know their name, I may not, but I would never trust. And they are of the freelancers. And so let me just say I understand if you don't trust me yet, but I'm merely asking you to give me the chance to do so.
I think we're all willing to give you that chance. Should we not trust others in the freelancers then, based on your
As I
what
said,
you just said?
and he would look around again. He's like, use your best judgment as far as who to trust.
Okay, well, recently we essentially trust no one, so we'll keep on keeping on.
He would just smile as you said that.
How do we contact you? Do we just meet you back up here, or
Well,
got
as
a
I said,
secret?
well, he was saying he was going to send something to Faye as part of their normal interaction of stuff he's sending her. And
Mhm.
he's like, I will include something in there that will be a method of contacting me. And you'll know it when you see it. And you might have to ask Faye, but again, we have a steady and continuing relationship. So it shouldn't be too hard.
Okay.
And he would at this point, he'd lean back in his chair and he'd wave his hand over the table and he would say, he's more back in his casual tone. It's like, here's the problem with what Faye's doing. And he's speaking louder. This band of adventurers she's gathering, it's admirable in many ways, but it's foolish in so many others. There's no name. There's no League of Adventurers, no Companions of the Exile, no freelancers. She didn't name us. We did that ourselves after she had moved on to her next pursuit. So if you would be so kind, when you return to her, tell her Sleude says hello, obviously. Give her this recommendation. The name of her group should be Exilis. She should wear her past like a badge of honor. And he would put his hand on the table and he'd start to rise. His tea's finished. He's like, I appreciate the conversation, gentlemen. And
Slade,
yes,
before you go, what can you tell me about the detective?
roll me an insight on his reaction to that. He pauses for a moment.
God damn it.
He would steeple his fingers, be like, the detective, did he contact you?
He did.
I will say this about the detective. I do know the detective. I don't know him personally. I know of his existence, and I know that he is very formidable. And to have him contact you one way or the other, I don't know what he intends. I don't know what he said to you, and in fact, I won't even ask. But interacting with the detective could be the best or the worst, depending on who you are as a person. That is as succinctly and concisely as I can put it. And the detective is very active in Wake, and the freelancers have come across evidence of his passing and his doings and his own manner of information gathering. What we do is very similar to what he does, but he's an individual, and as I said, I'm pretty well connected, especially here in Wake. I don't know anyone that's ever interacted with a detective as far as in person. People that contact him, normally he contacts people, that's why I asked, but he is very formidable, and this is in line with what I said earlier. Use your best judgment.
Noted. Thank you.
I will say this, though, based on I don't know y'all that well. I'm confiding much in you, and I have my hunches, but that being said, based on your character, and he would look at each one of you, characters, you may not have much to worry about from the detective. Could be very beneficial. Again, I don't know what I don't know, so I don't want to ensure you anything. And he would just nod.
Good to know.
Okay. He would thank you, and he would wave the table again and be like, well, thank you, gentlemen, for a fine couple of words and some drinks. Or maybe I was the only one drinking. Haha. And he picks up his tea. His owl would fly off his shoulder and fly over to the bar. And he would start to kind of shuffle around and start to exit and head that way as well.
Yep.
Yeah, so all that happens. And yeah, the general, some people have left, some more people have come in. It's just as crowded as before. That giant Goliath-sized orc is still sitting there, piano still playing, dark elf woman still just sitting there silently playing away. And that is your inter-Slade moment of Within the Sunny Runner. All right?
Nice.
All right. Sweet. That was dope.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
That has been...
I feel like Darian is also kind of satisfied with that interaction compared to most. But
I was sitting there fucking waiting. I was like, just fucking say it. Fucking say it. I can't fucking say it. Fuck yeah.
this is
It's like
bad.
fucking red wedding us.
Yeah, no, I got that reference earlier. You say, "Is anybody wearing chainmail?" And I was like, "What the
I was
fuck?"
like, you got a fucking red wedding.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I got that reference as well. I was like, well, I think
The
everybody
second
here
we
knows.
walked in, I like heard the music, and then there was like a piano playing in the middle. I was like,
You were seeing if I didn't get that
Kill
reference.
everybody.
You were
Reigns-
trying to see
Reigns
if
of
you
Castamere.
understood the song to be the Reigns of
Yeah, I know.
Castamere.
Literally the first.
Oh my god, that's hilarious, dude.
Wow.
This has been a long time coming. Like,
Yeah, we've been playing this arc for like a year now.
I know. Like, this is the
Takes
epilogue. This is the
We've
end
been
of arc
moving pretty
1.
quick though. The last like
Yeah,
month.
no, we have. But this is like the very end of like arc 1. We haven't moved beyond like the intro to the world.
Yeah.
Obviously, I won't like. Yeah, I don't want to reveal like anything else. But like, yeah, this is arc 1, end of
Okay.
arc 1. So, all right, I'm gonna go to bed.
All right. Good
All
night.
right, yeah, I gotta go.
Night,
boys.
folks. Oh man, we got a new challenger in here. Bisberg's character is in. You
I'm
will
gonna beat the shit out
appear.
of you, Bisberg.
I'm ready for the heels. That's all I'm gonna say.
Uh-oh.
Uh,
His character is going to do a lot of the opposite of healing.
yeah, I'm a pretty damage-oriented.
Welcome to the club.
Not healer.
I'm
Perfect.
a healer, but then... Did our healer leave the party, or do we still have a healer?
Kyle is the healer,
Okay.
Karina
Oh, so
is-
Kyle was the one who had to leave.
and
Yeah.
Kyle is he's just getting destroyed this semester. So
Gotcha.
I guess
He's,
I'm like
not
kind of
able
like
to
an
play as
off
much.
healer, and so is. I mean, don't monks have healing spells, or shouldn't they?
No.
Is Alex's monk of the week gonna have healing spells?
I don't think monks have healing spells.
Monks
in
don't
general.
have healing spells, really.
Nope.
Alright, I'm trying to think.
All I have is lay on hands, so
Lay on hands. What does that one do?
I could just heal people with a pool of like.
Darian puts his big old mitts on you, and you feel
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Bisberg's photo on Roll20 is like a LinkedIn photo.
Nice.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how to
I
change
just
it.
realized that. That's like such a jolly picture. Like, you
Hoping
look so
it's
happy.
I'm hoping it's a LinkedIn photo of his character, and not him.
Well, that is your character now. It's canon.
I like it.
I guess I'll just tell you where you are now, Alex.
Okay.
Where your character is. Quilly. I'm gonna call him Quilly. Maybe Bro.
Quilly?
Brio.
Okay.
Quilly Brio. I
Quilly
guess I
Brio.
got to give you access to your character real quick. I haven't done that yet. The party's all at the Sunny Runner, this tavern. They just got through an interesting conversation with a individual named Sleude, who is a freelancer leader type. Said a bunch of stuff. So he kind of left, and as I said, he slipped y'all. He reverse pickpocketed a journal onto Malice's person and indicated that he was going to leave and that y'all should stick around for a while so you don't leave exactly the same time and everything. So y'all are still at the table. He walks out. He gathers his owl from the bar because it flew over there right before he left. And then you see him just depart, just walking normally, brisk pace through the tavern, and he leaves. And y'all are at the table at this moment. And simultaneously, Quilly Brio is in Faye's keep, and you're currently, Faye has like brought you into her keep, and she's kind of like shown you around, and she introduced you to someone who is a friend of hers. And I'll just say this to everyone, so if anything gets explained later, y'all, it's just easier. You got introduced to so Faye, human wizard. I kind of explained who she was. to you already. You're in her keep, which is a floating like fortress off the coast of Wake, off the sea, over the Sea of Storms. If you looked at the world map, and it kind of moves around. It's not always stationary. But you're in her keep. She's kind of off doing her own thing, doing some like wizard stuff. But she introduced you to someone before she departed, and you met someone named Tiefling woman named Nemea, who is one of Faye's colleagues who has just returned from a trip. And she's back in Faye's Keep, where she works as a scribe and a researcher. And she introduced y'all two, and you're kind of like interacting with her right now. She's showing you around the keep, kind of giving you the tour.
Wow, cool.
So that's what's happening with you. You're in Faye's Keep right now, interacting with Nemea, Tiefling woman. So we can go back to the main party. What are y'all doing while you sit in this tavern?
Slade is walking away.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So at this point, we haven't had time to read the journal, right?
Well, I said you did. Like y'all would be able to sit here for any amount of time. I mean, at least like 10 minutes, which would be how long it would take you to read the journal. But if one of you reads the journal, then two of you do. And if you don't know what I mean, then you haven't read the journal in real life.
I know what you mean, but
journal.
I'm not fully done with it yet.
Malice, can you read it out loud to us, please? A bedtime story.
I've already read most
So
of it.
one of the reasons
Start.
I didn't have this as something I was going to read aloud is because like I do a lot. I do that a lot, and I wanted this to like be something y'all could read on your own. That's why I did that. I didn't want to have to go through it and read it in an actual session, and rather just play. But yeah, so y'all are here.
Okay, I'll speed read that shit. I'm already like, I think 25% done. So I'll read it while stuff's going on.
Okay.
I'm gonna order another drink.
Okay.
Is Slade still walking out of the bar?
Yeah, he's like almost exited at this point.
Okay, that's fine. We have a means of communicating with him anyway, so I don't necessarily, if I have to talk to him, I can talk to him through the journal.
Okay, so yeah, the waitress would come by, and the drinks, it's somewhere in the chat up above, so you can order. Those same drinks are still available. So, Alex, you should now be able to edit your character that you see in the newspaper section. So you can, like, fill out his character sheet.
Oh, I see.
I think you're listed as an NPC. Let me fix that. Yeah. So you can fill out your character sheet, change your bio, all that stuff, and then.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So you can be doing that. You can fill out your character while this is happening, or if you want to like speak with the mayor, ask her any questions, I can kind of like do that as well since they're going to be reading this, waiting around in the bar for now. Either way.
Okay. I'll start filling out the character sheet, I guess, for now.
Okay. Quilly Bria in the chat is like little picture is the LinkedIn photo. Sick.
How do I adjust that?
And then as far as the drinks, y'all remembered Chess, the bartender, saying the drinks available, which change every day, like 100% turnover of new drinks every day. Today's are Silver's Ale, Roaring Eagle Ale, Bilgewater, Slog, and Dragonfire Brandy.
I'm having another Dragonfire Brandy.
Darren enjoyed his silver ale.
Okay.
And another one of those.
Waitress has your orders, and she's sending them in. All those police sirens, my spidey sense is tingling. Those are random crimes I need to stop. I need to get out there and web them up.
It's just incessant. I don't even notice them anymore.
I'm in the middle of saving New York right now. Yeah, I mean, it's not imperative that y'all read the journal. I'm just saying, like, y'all could have in this time. So, Soraka, what are you doing?
All right, I've read the journal.
I'm in the process of finishing the second half of it. But
We all three are reading it. Fuck.
But I am. I'm gonna slug my.
Yeah, your drinks have been delivered at this juncture.
I'm gonna slug my. I'm gonna sip my drink actually, and I'm gonna hand one of the monocles in the journal to Croonin.
Okay.
And I'm going to put the other one on my eye, and I'm gonna write, "What do you know about Raphael?" Wait, is Slade still in here? No, it's
Slade is not here now.
Okay.
You're writing,
Actually,
what do you know about Raphael?
Well, I'm going to
thanks.
preface it with, this is an elegant solution to a rather complex problem. In truth, I don't know the answer to the questions he posed here yet, but I think we're on the right side. One immediate concern I have is, what do you know about Raphael? Seems to be Faye's primary lieutenant.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you wrote that and waited like another 5-10 minutes, you wouldn't get an immediate response.
Okay.
But yeah, Mouse, you're not, like, you wrote it in, and you, like, it's no response immediately, so you're not sure
Okay. Is there anything when we put the lens on? Is there any additional information?
But yeah, Mouse. Essentially, whenever you put on your own monocle and you look in the journal, you can see the writing on page 2, but it's jumbled and it's just gibberish and it's like constantly changing. Almost
Oh,
like
so
the
I couldn't have
Matrix.
even read page 2.
Yeah, until you had the monocle on someone else. So you could have said like you put it on Krunan, and then Krunan, whenever you put it on another person, it becomes readable, and the other person doesn't have to be like looking over your shoulder. It's almost like they can see it through the monocle they're wearing. So like you can be
Okay,
reading it,
cool.
and then you could hand it to Sirocco or someone across the table, and they could also be reading it by just having the monocle on. But if you only have one monocle on, the writing is jumbled and gibberish, and if you have no monocles on, the writing doesn't appear there at all, save for the first page, which was the instructions. But let me mark down what you wrote. Basically, Sleude's not going to respond immediately right now, but it is in the journal.
Okay. Well, as I'm finishing my drink, I would look up to the other guys and say, I think it's about time we went and found the switch.
Went and found the switch.
The switch?
Oh, okay.
This
AKA Faye.
bitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I guess I'll walk outside. And
We've already shown a decent amount of distrust to her.
That's it. That's what I was going to bring up. Well,
So what are the chances we're just? I mean, we.
I don't think we should.
try and
I don't think we should
anticipate
behave
how we're
any
gonna come at
differently
her.
than we were going to when we were going out. I think we should still be distrustful.
Do you think we're gonna? Yeah, maybe. Maybe we just. Yeah. I mean, what are the chances that she just is immediately gonna pick up on something?
No, I think we should
strong,
act like.
but-
I think we should treat her how we feel about her, which is we don't trust her. Sometimes the best lie is the truth.
Yeah. We'll lie detector it. We'll just keep being pissed.
It's true. I am pissed,
Okay.
and I want to know what the hell is going on with her, and I want to know why she sent us on that, and what she knows about what the fuck happened to us back there.
Okay, so as soon as y'all walk out of the tavern, if y'all walked out together, I guess.
Yep.
So it kind of, as you witness the scene, like some of the tables that were occupied and active with people, as you walk out, the piano player, the Dark Elf lady in the center is still playing, but a lot of the other tables have kind of rotated out. People have left. People have come in, new people, and it's kind of like the activity's changed. You've been in here for like a couple of hours. But nobody's that drunk or anything. So as soon as y'all get out, you, Malos, I guess if you're still the one holding the sending stone, you would hear on the other end Raphael's voice, and he would say, "Malos, are you there? What's your status? It's been a while now."
We're just leaving the Sunny Runner.
Okay.
Where were you?
Okay. I found.
Did you find?
Yeah, I found passage to Faye's Keep. It's let me find you. Let's meet in the market square. The way to get to the portal will be kind of tricky. It's a secret location, but I can guide you there, and we can meet up. I can come down to the market if you're nearby, which the Sunny Runner is nearby the market square.
Okay, sounds good. We'll meet you there.
Okay. Y'all appear in the market square, which is like this big center over here. This is like dusk at this point, evening. Most of the markets are closing. And you see Raphael kind of, he's not like making a big scene of it, but he like waves you over into like a corner. And he would say, it's like, so how was your time in the Sunny Runner?
Perplexing, as is everything that seems to surround you people.
You people? You're
You
talking
and-
about freelancer contact that was talking to you.
I'm talking about every weird shadow organization that exists in this goddamn world that we appear to be continuously running into.
Well, are you okay? Did anything not good happen?
No, there's just more cryptic nonsense.
Well, I want to ask. If you follow me, the clock tower in the old Archmage's quarters, the current West Arch doesn't currently reside in them, but this is where Faye's own keep used to be within the city. She had one of them in each capital when she resided as Archmage, and it's mostly abandoned now. Magia uses it as a clerical office, and I have a way of getting to the top of the clock tower, and that's one of the many locations where remnants of her portal still are, so we can get to her keep using this. But the way it works is I can only use this once every 5th time. There's 5 portals in the city, and this is the next one. That's why it was kind of troublesome to find, but I've located it now, so we can head back to Faye's Keep through this portal, and as I said, she'll want to debrief and check up on everyone, and yeah, she'll definitely want to hear about Agalor. And he kind of gets quiet at that point, but then he would start to lead you towards this rather large building with a tall clock tower that he described. So I guess so y'all are just going to go with him. If y'all
we'll just
did,
follow.
then basically he would just it's nighttime, like most of the people aren't there anymore, so he would just lead y'all into a secret passage through to get to the like a spiraling staircase that goes up towards the clock tower. And then once you're at the top of the clock tower, you see him kind of like move back a mirror, and behind it is a portal, which is just like blue energy you can't see through. But he would wave out his arm and be like, "This is to Phase Keep," and let y'all walk first.
I'll step through.
I follow as well.
I'm gonna say Krenan's still with y'all at this point. He would follow as well.
Yep.
Okay. So as y'all step through, you are greeted with familiar sight as you last saw whenever you I guess you would have taken this is the same portal you would have taken out as far as its location in the courtyard, kind of out in the open air of Faye's like little island whenever y'all went out back to Wake to head out to intercept Gilvarneck about 5 days ago. And as you step through the portal, Raphael comes in right behind you. You're greeted again by the courtyard of Phase Keep. It's a crescent moon hangs overhead. It's nighttime now, as it kind of took the rest of the daylight to find this place within Wake. And I have the map. Let me move y'all's characters over.
So are you guys about to recount to Faye like what just happened? Do you think most likely?
No.
Well, it depends what you mean by what just happened.
Dylan was just mentioning something about debriefing, so I wasn't sure if I should like ask about this Aboleth thing or if you guys are going to talk about it. I guess I'll just wait.
Just wait as you see it. Yeah.
I would if your character doesn't know certain stuff, I wouldn't like go out of your way to ask about it.
Yeah, so your character doesn't know anything about this group other than Faye probably would have said, like, in general, she has, like, this fledgling organization. She's been gathering, like, adventurer types like you for, like, a year now. And that's why you know this. You don't know, like, who the specific people are that are about to walk through this portal that you're going to see, but you know that she has this group, and these are adventurers within her group. You wouldn't know specifics about them.
We can describe ourselves, too, as we walk through. Are we in front of it now?
So I was setting up the map.
Oh, okay, no worries.
Y'all all walk through. So y'all walk out, and you're back on her like courtyard balcony. And just ahead of you, you see kind of like this. She has some tables set out in the open air of the night, and there's tall, varying trees around her as she Faye's dead ahead, as you can see on the map, with Bo nearby her, kind of like they're both working at these tables. Faye's wearing her trademark red cloak. She stands over a large table. Next to her stands Bo, who appears to be working with some kind of tools. And just as you walk through, Raphael, just behind you, you see a tiefling woman walk out of the keep, kind of walking this direction. I'm using this as your token. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, so we see a tiefling woman, and what is the person next to him look like?
The tiefling woman walks out. She has a variety of like scrolls in her hands, and she's kind of like struggling with them, and she's walking over, and she shouts out to Faye. It's like, Faye, it looks like Raph is back with some others. She seems to notice you first, and then behind her is a fire genasi. So y'all can roll nature, but he's a fire genasi, and he has like reddish skin, and he's wearing, I guess, what kind of clothing are you wearing, Quilly? Are you wearing like a cloak? Are you wearing armor?
Yeah. I have like sort of like a leather traveler's cloak kind of on with like the sleeves rolled up. Some like light leather armor chest plate, and just like some kind of like riding boots.
Okay. So yeah, you're kind of following behind Nemea. She was kind of showing you around, but she had to gather some scrolls that she was going to bring to Faye at her request, who was working out in the courtyard, bringing in a late night. I mean, this is the beginning of the evening, but Faye was planning to stay out here based on whenever she departed from you earlier and left you with the man. You've kind of like toured the keep, and I can tell you the details of that tour later. But yeah, so this kind of happens. Y'all all walk out of the portal, and you see a group of 4 with Raphael, who Faye had told you about. Raphael, who's a human ranger, just behind them. They walk out of this blue portal that activates and then disappears. And then y'all can describe your characters appearances to. I'll describe Crunan's. Crunan's a dwarven, like armored cleric with a shield and a hammer. I think great hammer.
Yeah, he's got a great hammer.
And then
He's also hung.
yeah, he has a huge dong that's pure cannon.
Definitely
That's
notice it.
that is fucking canon.
It's made of pure cannon.
That's like the first thing that was canonized was Crunan's huge dome.
It was the very first thing.
We rolled for dick
I'm
size
glad
and Kyle rolled
that's-
like a 20.
I'm glad that's established.
It's very established.
That's
Okay,
important.
and then everybody else can describe.
Yeah, my character, he's like in his like mid 40s. He's got sandy blonde hair. He would look like have a pretty like muscular athletic build. Has like a sort of like medium looking armor on, and has a lute and a large battle axe, like one-handed battle axe on his back, and what appears to be a silver dagger at his on his like right belt, and there's also an extra sword on his back right now. So I'm carrying Agalor's sword, and I look kind of battle worn and pissed.
Okay.
All right, Darian and Sirocco.
So I am a half-elf paladin. Don't remember where I have my full description, but I can't find it. But I'm wearing chainmail. I think I'm like 6 foot-ish. I think I'm like in my 60s as well. Silver hair, blue eyes.
So you're pretty young for a half elf, right?
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah, I
good.
believe so. I think it's. I mean, it's obvious I'm a paladin from like my heavy armor and like religious regalia, I guess. So
Cool.
Sirocco's a human, variant human. I don't know exactly what variation. We haven't gotten into that. But he's an elemental monk. Doesn't wear armor at all. Fairly standard monk attire, and he carries a spear and a staff with a serpent head.
Whoa, cool.
Alex, I'm gonna metagame here for a second, and I'm just gonna say I'm not trying to haze you or anything, but I need to roleplay a certain way, so we may be kind of shitty to you at first.
Okay. Sounds good.
So Faye would turn around and Nemea is calling out to her name. Faye would see y'all and Raphael, and she would say, "Raphael, my God, Malice, Sirocco, Darian, Crunan, you're back. Well, welcome back. We can, Bo, prepare some tea. I think we may be here for a while. I have quite a story for y'all. You won't believe what I found." And then she would like turn to Nemea. She's like, "Oh yes, this is my colleague Nemea. Y'all haven't met her yet." And Nemea would go and like put down the scrolls on the table and present herself next to Faye. And Faye would say, "This is Nemea. She's an old friend, an ally to our cause. She was away. She just returned from a trip. She is an expert researcher and scribe. She'll help us prior to our joint venture. She was a sorcerer within the Fellowship. I can attest that her knowledge of religious lore is unmatched across the realm. She was just orienting our new arrival," and she like points to Quilly just behind her. "Quillybrio. In fact,
I like Quilly.
and then at this point, she would finally kind of take note of y'all's like full arrival and your demeanor.
Yeah,
Is something wrong?
I haven't looked at either of them. I'm just glaring at her.
It's like, is something wrong? I'm sorry. I don't know where you've been or what's happened. I don't even know where Raphael's been. I sent out some free, but I couldn't find y'all, and now here you are. So come, let's go inside and we can talk and debrief. Bo, put on some tea, like I said, and Bo.
We can talk here.
Okay. What exactly happened? Where have y'all been for the last several days now?
Well, for the second time, we've gone to a place that you directed us. We're ambushed by multiple unexplainable phenomena.
Was it the Red Scar and the Keep?
There were no Red Scar in the Keep. They were all murdered.
Murdered. Not by y'all. They were already dead.
No, they were already dead. We searched the place, and we were assaulted by an unknown assailant that seemed to bring one of them back to life, and we had to fend them off, and were assailed by a vampire. At least we thought it was a vampire.
Vampire?
And then teleported by means we don't understand to a place where we were further assailed by monsters, and I'm gonna take out Aegor's sword and I'm just gonna throw it at her feet and like let it clatter on the stone, where our friend Aegor was killed. And
Killed.
so
How? Where did you go? What portal? What assailant? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
yeah, well, not much has
It
made
doesn't
sense
make
since
any
you've
sense
had
to us either.
yeah. Not much has made any sense since you fucking sent us on these goose chases, Faye. What the fuck is going on?
Well,
We were almost killed multiple times. Aegor is God knows where in the infernal plane, and we haven't achieved anything.
in the infernal plane? What? She's like looking at Nemea. Bo returns with some tea, and he walks in the middle. He looks down at the sword, and he has his tray, and he looks at Faye, and then looks at y'all. He's like, would anybody like some tea?
Fuck your tea.
Wait, I use
What the fuck is going on?
Sirocco's gonna use.
These
He's
new
gonna
abilities.
Well, yep.
Sirocco's gonna cast a wish.
No, he's not. Hold on.
Cooley like lightly grabs
No,
a cup
Sirocco's
off the
gonna
tray
use.
and starts sipping it like casually.
He's gonna use shape water,
Okay.
and he's gonna take control of the liquid that's in one of the teacups and throw it back in his face.
Roll me a.
I'll have to roll shit for that.
Yeah, you will. Roll me a Arcana. Yeah. So you lift up the water out of the tea using shape water. Kind of try to splash it in his face. Bo kind of puts up his hand and is able to like block it. But you do spill tea all over him. Faye steps forward. He's like, no, calm down. You need to explain exactly what you saw.
I don't need to explain anything.
Yeah.
I don't need to explain fuck all to you. You need to explain what the fuck is going on.
I don't know what's going on. I can tell you what I found under. You won't believe what Fallon was getting into.
Actually, we probably fucking will. Whatever. He's doing some kind of blood magic shit. He's got the entire town of Fallholt.
How do
He's
you
leading into
know
the Forest
that?
of Shadows. Doesn't matter. We found him. We
You
saved
found
Raphael.
Fallon? Raphael would step forth at this point. He's like, Faye, you need to listen to what they're saying. Yes, we did find Fallon. Fallon and Faye would say, yes, he was. All of Fallholt was evacuating, it seemed like, and what was under the mansion, not in it, under it, you're going to want to hear, Raphael. Fallon's not who we thought he was, and I don't know what's going on in Fallholt or where they're going, but apparently y'all ran into them, and Raphael would kind of explain what he experienced with Fallon's troop. But Faye's like, I have quite my own story to tell, and I think it might link up with what y'all found. Or apparently you talked to Fallon. You let him go, which I can't knock you for. I mean, based on what Raphael just said, I don't think it was in our right to stop him or try to stop him. And it appears his attack on you, Raphael, was only a ruse. So she's kind of rolling her eyes, but she's like, no harm done, I suppose. But how did you get out to the Almar Forest? How were y'all out there? You were transported from the Red Scar Keep in Fallholt to the Almar Forest?
We threw your cube down, and we were teleported to a location we were not aware of at first, in like the mouth of a dragon.
The mouth of a
What?
What? Well, the cube transports you. It's Cyansi technology. It uses complex calculations. I don't even understand, but I purchased it a long time ago, and I've used it before. I said that you can use it to get out of the jam. It calculates the surrounding area and puts you within 200 feet, the safest location it can find. And it doesn't always work. But
we used the cube after we had already been teleported to this place.
Right. And this place was where? In Almar?
It was in some cave in the middle of. There was a large lake.
Yeah, sorry, not a large dragon. It looked like a mouth.
You said monsters were in this cave?
Waterfall cave.
Portal to a cave in the mountain. Monsters attacked you?
I'm gonna look at Darian. Actually, no, she's gonna fucking be able to tell. Never mind. Yes, monsters attacked us. We also encountered an aboleth.
Her eyes go wide. An aboleth in a cavern.
Indeed.
and he helped us out.
Wait a minute. And she looks at Nemea, and like, an aboleth helped you out? Nemea is like listening intently to all this as well, obviously, but you can kind of tell with your passive insight, she like is more interested at that mention of an aboleth.
Yep. I don't know anything about those creatures. He just explained that's what he was. Large tentacle
Spoke
fish
to you.
monster.
And he helped you. What did he say?
Yes.
You
Why
gonna
was
make
he
us
helping
repeat
you?
everything we're saying? I use shape earth and I lower what she's standing on by 5 feet. So now just her head's out of the ground.
That
Just a
does not
little
work on
intimidation.
this tile. The shape earth spell would not work here. You use it and
Let's try it again.
yeah, nothing happens.
Keep trying.
I poop my pants in effort.
It's like you're not being very specific, you realize. I'm just trying to make sense of what happened. I don't know why you
I'm
were
just
transported
trying to understand why I should be specific with you, Faye. It's been a bit of a wild ride. Frankly, we don't have a lot of reason to trust what the hell you've been telling us.
I am dreadfully sorry that Agalor you just said is in the infernal plane, but I have no understanding of why or how that happened. And I'm just trying to get an understanding. When you say
Can I insight check
one
it?
of your colleagues died, yeah.
That crit insight.
Yeah, so whenever she's like going through asking follow-up questions, listening to her, listening to you, like she's paying like attention to every like little word you're saying. And you can tell whenever she's asking follow-up questions, she is very intent on your answers, and she also seems sincere in that she doesn't know what you're about to say next. But she is like paying, you can tell like in this interaction where she's asking these follow-up questions, like she's like definitely intent on like what you're saying and how you're saying it, and she's trying to get specific answers, like she said.
All right. I'm gonna give Agalor, or not Agalor, Darian, like a knowing look, and
What look?
like a knowing look.
Okay.
And I'm gonna tell her what the aboleth said.
Okay.
There was this is the Sire story, right?
Yeah. You would tell you would know the aboleth's name is Abactus too.
Yeah, Abactus. His name was Abactus, and he spun us a nonsensical tale about creation and the dawn of sentience of, I guess, us through the strange interactions of a god named Sire with a mortal being that culminated in a chess match that they tied, and supposedly as a result of the tie, Sire granted her like basically godhood, right? Or was it
Demi-godhood. She was still mortal,
Yeah.
but she had the power of a god.
yeah, that.
Okay. So you basically give the full gamut as you understand it, maybe not verbatim. At the mention of Abactus, you'd probably say Abactus before you said Sire, because one would lead to the other. At the mention of Abactus, Nemea would jump at that, and she would say, "I knew it!" And Faye would like kind of calm her down. She's like, "Continue," and then you'd continue, and then when you said Sire, y'all could roll me a perception check.
That was shit.
Quilly, you could roll this as well, since you're standing right there.
Is perception on the left?
Yeah, it should be like one of the like long
Skills.
list of skill checks.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit.
Ooh.
So everybody, y'all don't see anything. Quilly,
Dude, that's
First
your first
roll.
fucking roll.
Yeah.
Your first roll is a nat 20.
I'm
That's
gonna,
amazing.
I kind of want to whisper this because like you earned this, and I don't want anybody else to know it. So
Fucking text that shit to him.
yeah, I'm gonna text you what you see.
Okay. This is just after they finish describing.
Whenever
fish
the
beast.
word, whenever they're telling the story and they first mention this god Sire, which you could actually roll me an Arcana check as well to see if you recognize Sire. You wouldn't. I'll say your Arcana check will cover Abactus and Sire if you know what they are.
Okay.
That is
God.
fucking amazing.
What the
Are you
fuck?
kidding me? Are you
Wait, is
fucking
that a-
kidding me?
Is that a critical
Wow.
miss?
Yeah.
That's a critical one.
Oh my
You
god.
rolled a nat 20 and a critical one. You belong in this campaign.
It's perfect. This is a perfect first roll and second roll.
I have no idea. Okay. I heard it, but then I'm just like, okay.
So as y'all explaining this, Nemea kind of shouts out, "I knew it! Abactus!" And then Faye would kind of stop her. Y'all finish the story. Faye's kind of pacing around. Bo's still standing there with the tea. He walks over to the tables, puts down the tea. He goes and hands the tea to Nemea, Faye, and then he would offer one to you, Quilly, and then kind of stand next to Faye.
Okay.
So Bo is so I guess I didn't explain who Bo was before. So Faye, this is Faye's keep. Nemea is her colleague. Bo is like Faye's like left-hand assistant man, and he's like kind of like this awkwardly weird, tall human man that serves drinks and also helps Bo in a lot of her helps Faye in a lot of her like wizardly shit. So Faye would kind of listen to you, and she would say, kind of stroking her chin, she's like, "Yes, she looked into Nemea. We've heard of such a creature as a Bactus. We know of him." And also, as part of that description, would you explain yet how Agalor, what happened to Agalor? Or is that hasn't happened yet? That was just the story. Okay. She would say the tales told of a Bactus, this aboleth, this apparently benevolent aboleth. I guess that's confirmed. She would look to Nemea again. He's a being of a repository of practically limitless knowledge, but like a sphinx, he would not part with it without good cause, and good cause to an aboleth is, and she would look to each one of you slowly. Again, speaking purely mythically here, I don't know anyone who's actually ever seen or encountered a Bactus save for y'all. This creature only shares with those that he considers, or it considers, its equals. But it's a paradox, because you see, despite his patient, even benevolent demeanor, so counter to its nature as an aboleth, these wicked, controlling, psychic monstrosities, aberrations, such a creature cannot know an equal. It is practically limitless, like a mind flare in knowledge. And this restriction on its ability to share is bounded by outside forces. It actually doesn't have a choice, again, speaking mythically here. It can only share with those that it objectively are considered, again, mythically, its equals. And speaking in those terms, there is no equal to a being that can know everything. So if what you say is true, and a Bactus told you the story of Sire, and I'll get to Sire in a moment, that leaves two possibilities. Either a Bactus has gained a measure of free will, mythically speaking, and chose to share this story with you for its own purposes, or you are considered a Bactus's equals. And Nemea would be like nodding. As for Sire, this is incredible. Sire is one of the Sleude Summa, an ancient god, a master of sentience, breaker of man's shadow, as you spoke about. You got this full story. This story is grand, but forgotten to many most. It's too old. It's been overtaken by much more recent, more powerful gods in the modern pantheon. And Nemea would speak up. Sire is no longer considered consequential in today's religious terms, I can assure you. And most people don't even know of his existence. The tales are lost to time. Much of it was orally passed down. It doesn't even appear in many books. However, some say that is his power. Some say that Sire and the other Sleude Summa are the answer to the question, who created the gods themselves? And there's a grand conspiracy concerning these Sleude Summa. And since you look to Faye would nod. Returning. Their return, of which Sire is a part. The others are mostly unknown. They remain nameless as far as we know. Sire is the head, the leader, the central crux of these Sleude Summa, and they are cosmic in nature. Their return heralds an end to an old order of things and the beginning of a new one, in plainer terms and in terms of our objective reality. Per the terms of these many prophecies, we can expect such things as, and then Faye would kind of put her hand up. She's like, okay, Nemea, that's enough. We don't need everything right now. Okay,
I'd like to hear it.
Sire, well, we're not done. Where is Agalor? You said the infernal plane? How can that be? I'm so sorry. I don't know. A Bactus? The infernal plane? It doesn't make sense. What else was in that cavern?
You're sorry. Well, I'm sure that's going to help bring Agalor back. I don't know what it was. It was some spider. I was right next to him. It came down and pulled him in and sent him, opened a portal to what looked like the infernal plane, and it threw him in.
Nemea would step forward, like, a spider. What did it look like? And y'all do know its name. So that would be a choice. Like, your characters would know this thing is called an anavist. So that'd be like if you want to say that or not.
It's
It had many eyes, not just on its face.
So Nemea at this point, she would turn to Faye. Faye would shake her head. She's like, "Those they aren't real. That's a nightmare. That's a myth." And then Faye would stop herself, and she's like, "No,
You want to tell me what's real and what's not? I watched my friend get sent to goddamn hell, you bitch.
you're better
Don't
than
tell
that.
me what's fucking real.
You need to calm down, Malice."
Shut the fuck up.
She would step
Tell me
forward.
to calm down. My friend's dead.
No, he's not. What you saw was an anavist, and again, not something that most people have ever encountered, and definitely not something most people have ever encountered, even in the old tales, and ever lived to tell about it. Agalor might not be lost, but the anavist myth, Nemea. And then she would start speaking again. Anavists, they are the result of an ancient dark elf wizard experimenting on a phase spider using forbidden planar magics. And I'm sure we are all familiar with phase spiders, and perhaps such a creature, even with its many eyes and hellish appearance, appeared similar as one. This dark elf wizard, she produced a new breed of creature, and with her twisted magic, which combined the elements of these creatures with that of the planes. It is said their hearts and minds pump with energy, ultimately sourcing from the far realm, and their venom is psionically deadly, unlike normal poisonous venom. But their ultimate nature is determined by the plane from which they are spawned, whether it be the infernal plane, the astral, the abyss, or any of the others. And at this point, you would know that whenever those Eladrin elves, Duko and Riru, Duko explained the Anavis, he had mentioned that his experience with Anavis, he said that they'd battled with them in some of the caverns. They were all infernal in nature. And he said Anavis were infernal creatures, which is contradictory to what she just said, where they said she's saying they could be from any plane. So she would say that, and she would say, wait, infernal. In order to do what you say they did to Agalor, open a portal to the infernal plane, to the real thing, and pull him in, that's what happened? Nemea would be asking the group, or Malos. How exactly did it happen? This is important.
It do something with its eyes. Sorry, I'm trying to remember what exactly happened.
One thing that you probably wouldn't forget is, so whenever it came down, opened all of its eyes, they were all looking at Agalor. But you remember Agalor had a necklace. It was a skull necklace. It was a medallion of thoughts. He never really talked about it, I don't think. But the necklace was the thing that kind of rose up above his face, and it shattered. And as it shattered, kind of simultaneously or just after it, a blink after it, that's whenever the infernal portal opened. And Agalor turned and threw his sword into the ground and was trying to hold on at that point. So you remember that specific thing happening, and then the rest was he got pulled in. The spider was just behind the portal.
Was that necklace something we found in Xavier's?
Yep.
Okay. I guess maybe it wasn't necessarily the spider that opened it, but Agalor was wearing a necklace, and it seemed to float and shatter, and that's when the portal opened and he was sucked into it.
That necklace. That necklace must have been connected to the infernal plane. That's the only answer. In order to do what you say they did, sending an individual to their home plane, the real infernal plane, they would need a locus, a source magic, an object or artifact or item closely associated with the particular plane.
Sorry, did you say home plane?
Yes, that anavist you encountered was an infernal anavist, and
okay. Sorry, I thought you were implying Agalor was.
The anavist was responsible for opening the plane, but such powerful magics require certain components, and yes, they can be devastating creatures, and I mean their bites probably burned your mind, but in order to open a plane, they would need an artifact of some kind. That's why I say Agalor's necklace had to have been from the infernal plane, and it had to have been a powerful enough item to be a conduit to operate as this locus to open the plane. They are not capable of performing such a feat without such an object. But Faye, the infernal plane? And Faye would kind of step forward and say, there's a chance we might be able to retrieve Agalor. And I know what you're thinking. We should move now. But the way time and the way suffering works in the infernal plane is much different than now. I would need time in order to figure out the best way of going about it, but Agalor may not be lost. And we're lucky, she kind of says it under her breath, but you would be able to hear it. It's like, we're lucky he didn't go to the abyss. I think there's a much higher chance he would have already perished if he was there. She turns around and continues pacing. She's like, but Fallon, so you got back Raphael, so you led them back to Wake, and then you brought them here, and that's the full journey, I suppose. The rest of you are okay. No, I'm so sorry. I do have a tale of my own, and she'd be like, if you're willing to listen, I can tell you exactly. Well, maybe not exactly, but I made considerable progress on understanding the nature of Fallon's city and what Fallon was, but it seems like y'all also made considerable progress. But Fallon's mansion, there was nothing of note inside Fallon's mansion. I was able to make it inside. Magia wasn't yet investigating it themselves at first glance. Simply the mansion of a prominent political figure, wealthy but as quaint as the city of Fallholt is around it. However, I was able to detect some magic, and I followed it to the source, and I soon found there were lower levels beneath the mansion, not just a basement, more than a basement. There's a large stone room, a grand room, and a passageway beyond that, which could only be detected magically. And I found my way down there. This must have been whenever y'all were in the Red Scar Keep getting attacked by, she's like chuckling, a vampire. But in the room, it was large, fit to contain many people for large activities, and by the sound of what happened after you left, perhaps cult-like activities. It wasn't hard to realize what this room was about, though. There were strange markings on the wall, both drawn art and another art of a kind. There was reams of blood spattering on the walls and the floor, but it was old. It had been there for a long time. It was dried. And I found weapons of all kinds, mostly variations of blades and swords. All of the blood, save for in a distinct place in the large room, near the back, at an altar, was old and ancient, as I said. But at the top of this altar was a shattered stone. I found the blood of at least 3 people, possibly more around this altar, but I didn't have time to investigate it. Behind the altar, I headed right as soon as I could, because I heard Magia entering the house, and I wanted to be able to make a full investigation before escaping. And I kept going deeper underground. Eventually, I made my way down through a stone passage well underneath the ground for about 50 meters or so. I found a door. It featured a symbol and a tome at the center of this door, lodged into place by design. The tome was red, featured an intricate symbol. It's written in some kind of code. Nemea is trying to decipher it now, and like she would turn to Nemea. Nemea is actually carrying the book now. She picked it up off the table after she took the scrolls over to the tables that Faye was working at. The discovery of the tome was odd, but I'll get back to that in a moment. The symbol, Boas determined by cross-referencing certain texts from the library, is of a god known as Behesindra. Not a name I'm familiar with, and another secret god, and you might be able to connect the dots. This god, according to the fledgling text we've been able to decipher so far, is another of the Slinde Summa, the same as Slinde Summa that Sire is a part of. And this god, Behesindra, from this forgotten pantheon, as far as we know, outside of the object of its divinity, was, and you might be able to guess it based on what you know about Fallon now, Behesindra, as far as we can tell, is the god of blood. And unfortunately, that's not all I found under the mansion. I found someone else too. It turns out Magia's best was already there. Emmett and his guard Sean were right there in front of the door. They were already performing some manner of arcane discovery or excavation upon the passage, and specifically that door. Emmett quickly expelled me from my hiding place as I was witnessing this moment, but sensing my presence somehow. But I was only able to escape for one reason. Emmett is a mind mage. He's much quicker than me. He can cast his magic much quicker than me. He hesitated. And Sean didn't, but it was too late. That's all I needed. I was able to... She kind of rolls her eyes. Polymorph myself, and I was able to escape. But there's something you need to realize. The reason Emmett hesitated, well, he saw me, but not Faye. I wasn't Faye. I was still disguised as Victoria. Because you remember Faye, whenever she was there, she had disguised self-spell on, and she was disguised as Victoria. And she says, Emmett recognized Victoria. He recognized her. And his face was one of shock. And she continues, like, pacing around. You know what this means? or likely means, it's a theory, it means that Emmett, the West Arge of Magia, knows Victoria, and more likely knew of her presence and actions in recent events, or knew her personally, but I find that very doubtful. I knew where Victoria came from. She's from Eslock, and I don't think Emmett knew her personally. Based on Gilverneck's outfitting and the appearance of the Singes, the Syndicate knew we were coming. The Syndicate was, as far as I'm concerned, the mastermind behind everything that happened and most of the things that went wrong, at least on the interception of Gilverneck's band. They are likely the ones responsible for somehow transporting Gilverneck's band into our midst, using some kind of magic that Raphael explained to me, and y'all did as well in the aftermath of the fight. They were able to kill Victoria, Rallick, Alea, Windion. We can get back to that in a moment, but they kill the others so easily, and my hunch is that Emmett knew about it. Emmett's working with the Syndicate, or he at least had indirect knowledge of it somehow. And he was at least tacitly aware of their actions. Emmett, a mind mage, is powerful, but transportation, teleportation, it's possible. She's like thinking for a moment, and there'd be a pause while she's like working this out. If y'all wanted to say something before she continued.
No.
Nope.
I go and pick up Igor's sword and return it to like sheath in my bag.
Okay, get that prop out of there. So she said, regardless, it might take time. It will take some time for Magia's investigation to resolve. I was able to identify a Sleude contact within Sleude, as in the sect of the freelancers, within the Magia force investigating, who's a double agent for the freelancers. And through this individual, we should be able to know what Magia discovers and the resulting actions as they embark on their full-blown investigation of whatever is underneath and whatever's behind that door underneath Fallon's mansion, and hopefully how to open it. As for the tome I mentioned earlier, I suppose I forgot to mention something at the beginning of this account. Before I entered Fallon's mansion, the thing that got me to notice the potential, before I entered the basement, the thing that got me to notice the entrance to the lower level was a piece of paper, or rather two. This. And she presents, or she has it in her hand. Nemea holds it out to her, and she's just holding it up. And it's two ancient pieces of paper which have the edges frayed on all sides, except for on one side, on the left side, it looks like it's been ripped. She says, this page, we have determined, was ripped from the pages of the tome. We were able to match it up. It's the same material that's in the rest of this tome that we're trying to decipher now. The Behesindra deity text, I would assume, but we haven't figured it out yet. It's a much smaller fragment. There's a full page, and then there's a smaller fragment that's ripped in half. It isn't in an unknown language or code. It's handwritten. It's written in common, apparently by Fallon's own hand, based on what it says. It's a single page of his own personal journal of findings on his blood power. He and some of his people seem to wield, and he speaks of it in this manner. And she would hand it to y'all to read rather than read it aloud. But the first page, it's like not that much. It says, this is like his writing, his journal writing, and this is ripped out of the page, which the rest of it is written in a text that they can't understand. They're trying to decipher. The first couple of pages have been ripped out, and you can't see them, but she found these two pages in the entrance of where she uncovered the secret entrance to this stone passageway under the Fallon's mansion. If you're following all that. If not, then don't worry about it. It'll be explained in more detail later or whatever. But the first page, this is Fallon's notes, says, these blasted orcs, the Red Scar, they have no idea what we have become. ... It's also ironic. This power was originally afforded to them, the toothy green beast, the spawn of divine bloodthirst incarnate. This power granted them the world in ancient times. And now the orcs, these beasts, have forgotten their own history. And in the onset of their savagery belayed, and they've joined civilization, they have lost their true power. It was rightfully theirs, and they lost it, and their own history. I rediscovered it and have now shared it with my people. Only the strongest survive in this world, and only we are prepared for what is coming. In truth, it is their birthright I now wield, and have imbued with my clan with. The gifts of Behesindra are many, and we are just now uncovering their total worth. And that's kind of like where it ends and it's cut off. The second page is like a half page, and it's ripped off, and the only words you see are, Xavier showed me the truth of this world, guided me to the only road that's left for my people. Our kingdoms of the past are in past, and in our modernity, in our cities, we have become complacent. They are not prepared for what is to come, but I am, and I will share such power and knowledge with those I deem fit. And I think that's something I forgot to mention. I remembered later on. Whenever y'all were having a discussion with Fallon, Croonan did know, and I think he told y'all, or Kyle told y'all at some point, that whenever Emmett was interrogating the guy that ran away that Darian tackled in Fallhold, he, through his wand of secrets, learned some of the contents of that mental interrogation. And one of the things that Krunan learned was that this guy who ran away was Xavier's. I mean, y'all knew he was Xavier's handler. I think y'all already knew that. But you knew that Xavier had interactions with Fallon, and Fallon went out to the temple that Xavier's room was in to train. I think y'all knew that. And y'all didn't probably remember that when you talked with Fallon, so y'all could have brought that up. But
yeah, I probably would have brought that up.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I forgot as well. But this journal page kind of confirms what you already knew, essentially, that he's writing about Xavier, and Xavier kind of showed him something. So that's what Faye would kind of finish her description. She would take the pages back, and she'd be like, well, based on my understanding, after everything, I intend to follow up and see what Midgie is doing here. I don't think Fallon would have left that book unless he left it for a reason. I think Fallon left it for Magia, not us, because he didn't anticipate us. He left it for Magia to find and try to decipher, because he didn't know how to read it either. That's my guess. A lot of theories here. Bottom line is that there's something underneath the mansion we still don't know about. Emmett might be working with the Syndicate, and Fallon got his blood powers from this ancient god, Behesindra. She slaps the book, and she'd kind of stop talking at this point.
As she mentioned orcs, you guys see my eyes go wide, and I turn kind of white, and I kind of almost drop the teacup that's in my hand, and then I take kind of a big gulp. And
she mentioned orcs.
Yeah, the red scar.
When she mentioned the orcs, yeah, she was mentioning how Fallon wrote this in his journal, the orcs and stuff. So, yeah.
Do I know who Fallon is?
Based on where you're from, you probably, you can roll me a history, because yeah, based on where you're from now, but where you're from when you're a kid, you might know, yeah.
What's going on?
What the fuck?
What is going on?
Yeah, so you know,
Holy shit.
You know, Fallon is the mayor of Fallhold. He was the leader, and he was he's he's middle aged at this point. He's kind of older, and he's a charming, charismatic politician. And you actually know, based on some rumors you had heard about him, the Fallhold's north of the Outlands. It's still kind of part of the Outlands, and it's one of the major cities in the region. So that's why you know this. You've heard rumors that Fallon is someone who is actually a great warrior as well, and he wields some magical power. This is something you'd heard in your past. So things you're hearing now about this blood power and stuff is matching up with stuff you already knew, based on that history.
Oh wow. Okay. Damn.
Stuff that you'd heard in rumors. Now it's confirmed.
Wow. Interesting. So do you guys? I guess maybe this is more directed towards Faye. Do you think that the magic that Fallon possesses is somewhat related to what happened with these guys' friend who got transported to the infernal plane? Or I
think Behesindra is connected to Sire.
Mm-hmm.
Sire's connection to the Anavist and the infernal plane, unclear if there is one at all. I honestly don't know. At this point, these things could just as much be coincidence as they are deeply, deeply connected. And she would kind of continue thinking, pausing before moving on.
Mm.
It's certainly possible.
Interesting. What else do you know about Sire?
Well, and this is kind of what Nemea was saying earlier. She's well, there's this conspiracy that if the Sleude Summa, which Sire and now we're finding Behesindra, and I don't think that's a coincidence that both of these names are surfacing now. There's a conspiracy that their return, these beings, which some say that created the gods themselves, the gods we know today, their return would herald. Well, Nemea, this was your time to shine. And Nemea would kind of continue, as she said earlier, before Faye stopped her. She would say, their return heralds the end of the old order of things and the beginning of a new one, in plainer terms and in terms of what we know to be our reality in the prime material plane. Per the terms of their many prophecies, we can expect such changes as, and you can tell, she's saying this without reading anything, but you can tell she's memorized this text. And she's kind of listing it off mentally, and what you would assume is her mind pause. She would say, she's kind of hitting her fingers she's counting. an increased number, an increased power of both arcane and non-magical forces. Psionicism becomes more common at birth in such an era. And y'all can roll me Arcana checks to see if you know what about Psionicism. It would mean Sanguis and Sisig, Sire's children in the story. Those are ancient races. And
Oh my
they
God.
they would again be able to walk the earth and take part in mortal affairs. It would mean the coalescing of Solus and Tenebris, the light and the dark of our natures coming together. It would mean increased planar activity across the prime material plane, perhaps the cause or the conduit for all this portal that you encountered in the Red Scar Keep.
Interesting.
Just the omen of the return sets to ignite the Imperium Elementa, the ancient artifact sourcing from primordial times. And y'all could roll me a history check to understand what that is. Quillibro and Malos, y'all both know that psionics is like mental prowess. It's like being able, it's not arcane magic, it's magic of the mind.
I know all about psionicism because I read the journal.
Yeah.
Yes, so that would help. Actually, I guess all of you would if you knew the journal. But Quilly, you know this from your own knowledge, that psionicism is harnessing the power of the mind to be able to create arcane-like effects, but it's not tapping the arcane forces. It's using your mind only, and most people are born with it. And basically what she just said is that in this kind of environment, this era, this is part of the prophecy.
It'll increase.
The Summa, it's just something that's going to crop up more often. Portals will increase more often. Coalescing of Solus and Tenebris, and then the omen of their return sets to ignite the Imperium Elemental, ancient artifacts sourcing from primordial times. I would say Sirocco. Malice, I mean, y'all have all heard of this. Sirocco kind of knows the most, but the Imperium Elementa is the name for a set of ancient artifacts that, like she just said, sourced from primordial times, like the dawn of like the planet forming, and like before like really there was any sentient beings involved. There was certain materials, and like kind of the magic was so raw that it like was imbued into certain kinds of materials that eventually coalesced into things that later got mined or collected and got developed into magical weapons, artifacts, items, objects of power, and they're known as the Imperium Elementa to like the history books. And she's saying the omen of the Slinde Summa returning would ignite the Imperium Elementa. And then Faye would pipe in at this point, kind of as Nemea's played this out, and she would say, and that brings us back to what the first mission, what all this, why I hired y'all, why I brought y'all on. Hired's not even the right word. It's the obelisk, the key that y'all went to go get from the temple, that you found in, I guess, Xavier's room, the necromancer that committed suicide. It feels like so long ago that this happened, but that obelisk, also known as the key, retrieved from the temple, is as old as time itself. It is from the primordial times, and it is composed of the same elements as the Imperial Elementa that she just mentioned. And Nemea would say, the prophecy reads that Elementa draws Slinde, and vice versa. And there are many other prophecies alongside the Slinde Summa's return, such as the Gaian world of nature gathering its forces to rise against man's world of artifice. And Faye would stop her. She's like, and the Summa will play a role in the Blood War, integral but unknown. There is the potential for what we have always feared, a great unbalancing of the conflict, and she's like, again, kind of reciting this. This is like a myth. Spreading it out among the prime material planes and others not prepared for its eternal violence. Yes, Nemea, all of these prophecies, theoretically, are in play, and apparently, based on what Bactus told y'all, and the fact that he said anything to y'all at all, things are about to get very interesting. And I think, and she like looks around to everyone, y'all, Nemea, Bo, even you, Quilly, looking over Nemea's shoulder. She's like, we're here right now in the middle of this, and I'm at a loss. I need more time to correlate this information you're relaying and cross-reference it against the text. I have a lot of work to do, but the bottom line is the consequences and opportunities of such a prophecy. I've never lived through such a time. No one probably has that is alive. But the consequences and opportunities are limitless. There's no end to the rumination on what might all of this mean. And I fear we won't have to wait long. Things seem to be happening fast. She would look at y'all sincerely. Essentially, we are dealing with forces well beyond our control, perhaps our understanding, but nevertheless, it is my job to try. The story of Sire, of Bactus sharing it with y'all, choosing to do it now, Gilvarnek, the Emmett, the the syndicate, the storm, everything that led up to this. Do we really? It's possible, but do we really think this is all some kind of wild coincidence? It's possible, but I don't know.
Yeah.
What do y'all think? I'm sorry, we've kind of been ranting here for a moment. She's looking to malice you in the group.
Yeah. Seems like we may not have that much time.
I think you'll figure it out. I'm going to Fantasy Taco Bell, and I turn around and walk through the portal.
Taco Nova.
What makes you
I don't know
talk
what that is. I said Fantasy Taco Bell.
They're the same thing.
I know.
But you turn around and like kind of caught up in all this. You maybe didn't realize that the portal closed behind you as soon as it opened, and you walk past Raphael looking behind him, and the portal's not there anymore. It's just these two pillars leading up, and there's nothing in between it that leads out into kind of like the moon's reflection off of the ocean and kind of like the breeze here in the sky. And Raphael's like, were you looking to go to Taco Nova, aka Fantasy Taco Bell? Sorry.
I was. It's been kind of a rough couple days. I'd like to go play my lute and drink a beer.
Well,
Faye, I'm sure you'll let us know what the next step is and what you want us to do. Most of this stuff is beyond my understanding. I don't know about the rest of you guys. And I look at, yeah, okay, that's actually all, yeah, that's all I say.
Yeah, I mean, I got no fucking words to say to her.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
I asked her if she knows how the Red Scar, if she knows if the Red Scar would have any increase in power due to the happenings of the
Red Scar in general, yeah, it's like a mercenary company.
Hey,
you would probably know this. What were you saying?
I just want to clarify something about the Red Scar. Was Gilvarneck with the Red Scar when the shit that happened to Malice happened? I'm just trying to understand if I should harbor like a lot of animosity towards the Red Scar or not.
I would say it probably wasn't called the Red Scar that long ago. The Red Scar and like the more modern names and current iterations of the mercenary companies within the last decade or so. So at that time, he wasn't officially a part of the Red Scar, no.
Okay.
But yeah, to your question, Quilly, Faye would kind of turn and be like, well, based on everything that happened with the Red Scar that weren't out at the battlefield that we slayed, the Red Scar that were back in the keep that, based on what y'all's group told me, were murdered, apparently by the Syndicate.
Oh, that is true.
The whole Red Scar regimen, or the vast majority of it, has now been wiped out at Fallholt. And I don't know if they'll return or not. It's likely they might, because Fallon's gone, and he's led a lot of the people with him. I don't know if the Red Scar specifically power will increase with what's happened to Fallholt, but certainly some new kind of power is going to take hold there, and a lot of new people are going to move into that vacancy for sure. It's one of the strongholds of the West and the Outlands, and I don't think it'll stay as vacant as it currently is for long if Fallon truly doesn't intend to return. As far as the Red Scar's role in that remains to be seen, and it seems certain that the Red Scar were pawns of the Syndicate, but I could be wrong about that. It's just my hunch. I have a lot of hunches going right now. I'm juggling them like balls in the air. But
do you know where Fallon is now?
Yeah, how far did y'all go in explaining what Fallon was doing and where he went? I don't think y'all specifically said it.
I did say the Force of Shadows.
Okay.
I was trying to I was basically I didn't really care about what information I was getting. I was just trying to one up Faye.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would if you asked that, Quilly, I would say I believe you said the Force of Shadows.
Do I know what that is?
Yeah, the Force of Shadows is still west, but it's like east of Fallholt and north of Wake. So it's like it's this vast forest kind of approaching the more colder regions to the north. It's like northeast of where y'all are right now.
I see.
Just this vast supernatural kind of like shadowy forest. It has its name for a reason. You could roll like an Arcana or a Nature check to understand like what if you know anything specific about the Forest of Shadows. But that's where it is in the world. But kind of as you are leaving or like kind of like turning to like go back to the portal, and Malice, you said like I'll assume you'll tell us what to do next. Faye's like, well, it's not clear to me what y'all are. We still good? What I feel as though there's something still wrong to the extent that y'all's party in y'all's group and our relationship we have here. I don't think things are right, and all I ask is, what do you intend to do next? What are you thinking? You seem to imply there that you're going to continue working alongside me, and I would want that, but based on what's happened, I'm confused, I would say.
Well, if I could say something, I'm sorry to hear about what happened to your friend, but it seems like maybe we could try to get him back at some point. Maybe we should try to go find this guy. It seems like maybe he's at least the person on this plane who might have some of the answers.
This guy being Fallon, or
Yeah, Fallon. Or maybe I'm just naive. I don't know.
I don't know that we should pursue Fallon. I have a relatively unique, maybe not unique, but I know the man, and I decided to walk away from him for a reason, and not challenge him in a moment where we could have. And I think it may be folly to pursue him. As to your question, Faye, if the question you're asking is, do we trust you? I think the answer is still very tentatively no. I don't know what's going on in the world right now, but there's more than I had ever imagined. And while it upsets me to say this, but I think that we're involved in things that are yet beyond our understanding, but are important. And I think that our alliance with you is something that needs to be maintained. And so you'll forgive me if I have my misgivings about you for now, given what's happened to my friend, what's happened to us in the last couple weeks. But as you would put it, I guess we are good for now. Just let us know what you plan on doing.
Faye would nod as you say this, kind of solemnly, and then she would look to everybody else and be like, does Malice speak for himself only?
No, we're on the same page as him.
Sirocco, Krunan? And Krunan would say, like, I'm with Malice and Darian, most likely. Some variation of that.
Yep.
But in a Kyle voice. Okay, so, yeah, I would say she would nod to Raphael. Raphael would kind of reach over, and he would put his hand on the kind of one of the pillars, and the portal would open back up. And he's like, it'll lead to area near the market square. You can head to the east of the city to go to Taco Nola. I won't be joining you. I'm going to retire. I wish to rest and think.
I'm gonna look at Colibrio, and I'm gonna say, you're new here, huh?
Yeah, I'm not from these parts.
I don't mean from these parts. I mean, you're new to
Faye.
this whole shindig.
Yeah, It's a lot.
Why'd you bring him, Faye?
Well, he was it's one of my latest recruits, you might say. I found him, and she would like look to you, kind of like you can tell she's giving the look. It's like, do you want me to tell them where you're from? Before she goes further, she would like give you that look. You would be able to know that
Like,
she's like,
I would stop her. I would stop her. I was like, you don't need to tell me. He can tell me himself. We're going to Fantasy Taco Bell if you want to come. And then I'd turn and walk through the portal. And as I was walking through the portal, I'd look over my shoulder and say, welcome to the fucking show. And then walk through the portal.
Drop the mic. I like it.
Okay. So I'm gonna say y'all can all go back to Wake through this portal. Y'all end up on the streets. It's like pretty late at night at this point. Conversation probably took an hour or so, and then basically this is where we leave off. But I do want to do like housekeeping on what's gonna happen now. I was gonna do so. Y'all determined to continue working for Faye. Quilly is now over time gonna become part of y'all's group, even though he's just like this other recruit Faye had, and y'all are gonna kind of like meld together. But we're gonna do a time jump. Well, y'all are going to be kind of like training and or just like hanging out in the Wake West region, kind of doing whatever you want. And if you went back and talked with Faye at any point, she would say like, I don't have any current assignments for you, but I think we need to get better acquainted and get a better understanding of what's going on. So she would want y'all to help with like research and figuring things out and doing like training on your own. She'd like help y'all get more powerful. Like Nemea would help you with research. Faye would help you with fighting. Bo would help you with whatever you wanted, basically. But there's going to be like a 6-month time jump. And I had like some player homework. Basically, like what y'all would want to be doing in this time. Y'all can figure that out. Y'all just don't have to answer right now. But this time jump is going to happen to where I would say y'all would be able to, based on whatever you did, would maybe be able to gain like a proficiency in a certain skill. If you said like, hey, I want to become more proficient with like talking to people, then you're like, all right, well, how are you going to do that? You explain that to me, and then we'd make some rolls probably, and maybe you become proficient. Maybe you gain a feat. Like you can look at the feats and try to determine what you'd want to learn. But essentially, during the 6 months, almost no matter what you do, you're probably going to level up. So everybody's going to be level 5. And then at the end of this, then you're going to get an assignment. And I'm going to say, like, I'm going to do this all at once. I know this is out of order, but like the assignment you're going to get, I guess I'll send in the group meet later because I don't want to do it right now. But
Yeah, I don't want to know the assignment yet.
yeah, y'all have to know. But the reason I need to tell y'all the assignment and the reason I want to tell y'all is because whatever you choose is whatever I'm going to make. That's why I haven't made the next thing yet, because I wanted to, based on what y'all wanted to do in this time, and based on what assignment you specifically chose, there's going to be 4 options basically. That's how I'm going to choose to proceed with like my logistical like DM time. So y'all will know that, and you're just going to have to that's going to be like the end. Like where y'all are going to get that information and then decide, and then that's where the campaign's going to go from there. But yeah, this time is meant to be training with Faye. Faye helping with fighting, Nemea helping with researching, Bo helping with anything else miscellaneous. You're going to meet some others of Faye's recruits that you could interact with, who are also training in this time, and I'll reveal those later. And then in general, outside of training, what are your characters doing in this time? So it'd be Wake. You could go to Fallhole even. Like this is going to be 6 months of time. That would be kind of like a trek. But yeah, I would say like mostly in and around Wake, and then Faye's Keep. This is what the time would be holding for you. So some general homework that I had. This is like stuff I wrote a while ago, but it's still relevant. Croonan, I would want Croonan to determine the deity that he's serving as a cleric, which R.I.P. Croonan. Malos, I was gonna say determine your defining works as a bard, but based on like the fact that you're like a fighter bard, like I don't know if that'd be relevant to you. It's just an idea I had to like, because like as a bard, what would be
Malice
like the things you sing?
Yeah, he's not. I wouldn't say he's like a. He's like a bard is not. Oh, actually, it is one of his defining characteristics. But Malice is like he's not like a. He performs like other works. He doesn't perform. He doesn't like write stuff himself.
Right. Okay.
So he's like really well versed in like songs that people sing. Like he's really well traveled, and so like he knows like a ton of songs and like lore about the world. And so like he like plays. He basically plays things people want to hear, as opposed to like inventing songs himself.
Okay. Then Darian and Alex, I know you need to go to bed. This is the final thing, last thing. I want to end on something cool. But Darian, develop your god and like kind of your understanding of. I think you already told everyone, so I'll just say it. Bane, and like how you want to worship him, what he intends you to do. Does Bane have any artifacts or weapons devoted to him? Wait, what is it? Hor? Oh,
H-O-A-R.
What is Bane then? Why do I have Bane written?
I don't know. It was definitely Hor.
Okay, whatever. Hor. I wrote Bane. I must have been thinking of something else. But basically, the lore around your god, what he intends for you to do, if he intends for you to do anything, and are there any artifacts or items or weapons, either like that you make up or just anything related to Hor that you would want me to know out of game or in game, anything that you're doing as far as your worship with him.
Yeah, he's an exarch of Bane. So
Exarch of Bane. Okay, that's why.
I probably said that at some point, but yeah.
Okay, so Hor and Bane, you could do either or. Like if it's something related to Bane and Hor serves him, then that's still relevant. Sirocco, there's some secret shit I wanted to do with you and develop kind of the story behind how you were trained, some of the relationship with other monks, and kind of you're curious where you're from and stuff. And then Quilly, you already know what kind of your homework is with your patron and stuff. That's something you could be working on. And yeah, so the end of this, y'all are all going to be level 5, so y'all can level that up. We're thinking about that already. Everything I said, I'll send in like the session summary. And then you have a question?
I was just saying we can take an additional, like if we wanted to like get a feat, that feat would be in addition to the level up.
Yeah, so I would say like a feat or proficiency is something you could do in a 6 months of training. Now, that's not going to be for free. You'd either have to tell me very, very specifically how you're doing it, and that might help the role, or just kind of say like, hey, I want to learn to be more charismatic, and you give me nothing else, then we'll just do a roll and decide if you get it or not, or how it works essentially. There's still going to be rolls, but like based on what you tell me, it might be more advantageous or more disadvantageous.
Yep.
And then if nobody else has any questions, I have this final little like epilogue Easter egg that I wanted to end on because I thought it was hilarious. Does anybody else? I can send I'll send all this in the session summary. But that's it. Then essentially y'all are in Fantasy Taco Bell. Y'all are like maybe not getting too late because you have like, I don't know, y'all are doing whatever you want. But Sirocco, I think you told me last time that you have the Raven figurine because you you have it on your person and maybe you forgot about it. You got this from Xavier's Keep. This is one of the many items. And kind of y'all have all dealt with like, all the items have had, some of them are straight up cursed. Some of them have weird characteristics to them. None of them have just been normal, right? And that's something you definitely know. But you know that you haven't used the Raven figurine. And the Raven figurine, the way it works, what Bo told you is that this is a small little Onyx figurine which you place down, activate using a command word, which you got it whenever you pick it up. So you can use it, and it becomes a live astral-like crow, or a raven, that can fly around. And it can serve as a raven and kind of like scout for you, and like I think you can telepathically interact with it. I have to look up the rules specifically, but you're sitting in the bar or in Fantasy Taco Bell. Everybody's like kind of like a moment of like clarity. You realize that you have this on your person. It's in your pack right now, and you've never used it. So do you use it right now? As the conclusion of this night, the clock is striking midnight.
Malice is playing his lute in front of the crowd.
What you just said? I already know that word too.
So you know how to use it. You just forgot. You kind of have a moment of clarity that you got it, and you're like, oh, this could be useful someday. And then kind of like the roller coaster ride of events and actions all happened, and you forgot you had it. And in this moment of clarity, maybe you realized it when you're in like the Abactus's lair or whatever, and then you forgot about it again because the whole thing happened. And now in this moment of clarity where you're just kind of enjoying drinking yourself, there's nothing really expected of you right now. You're like, oh yeah, I have this.
I say yes. I'm going to say it. And then you can describe the initial thing, whatever happens. And then we'll have a freeze frame with like Ash, his little like glowing moving pupils.
No, that is exactly what I had in mind. It's going to be a freeze frame where like, okay, so the crow is going to fly up. It's going to land on the table in between y'all. Maybe like you're playing your lute kind of softly. Crow flies out. Crow's like hopping around in its little crow feet. Everybody's kind of looking at it. It's looking around at all of you, and you kind of like your passive insight's given like this crow. Like crows are, ravens. Is it a crow or a raven? It's a. I actually don't know if it's a raven or crow figurine. It's one or the other. Let's say it's a raven.
If it's the D&D,
is it a raven
figurine? I think it's a raven.
Okay, because I have crow written somewhere, and I have raven in other places. So I kind of interchanging the two. But it's a raven because ravens are cooler. But anyways, it's looking at y'all kind of with the level of intelligence that ravens have, but it's hopping around, and it stops on you, Sirocco, the person that summoned it, and it cocks its head in its little raven way, and it says, "Hi, my name is Xavier. What's yours?" And then it freezes, and the music starts playing, and we go to that's the end of the epilogue. Yeah. So.
All right.
You had that the whole time, and all the players and the DM forgot about it. Yeah.
I like how like everybody's cursed items were like kind of a bummer, and then I just had this fucking awesome sentient sword.
Honestly, no one's really used theirs. The Wand of Secrets though, like that one.
I've used the shit out of mine.
No, I'm saying everyone except for you. Like no one's really used theirs other than the Wand of Secrets, which Krunan has used a lot. So y'all don't even know a lot of the stuff that these items do, because I think you have an immovable rod. You have the Medallion of Thoughts is now gone. You have the Meme Lantern, which I would say, I think Agelor said he had it, but he never really used it. So like I would say that could be on someone else. So that's what the Raven speaks to you, and like these figurines with the animals that come out of them, they don't normally speak coherently. Raven might be able to parrot some words back at you, but